Hi, welcome back guys. This is your sensei, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Naruto Wasn't the Dead Last? Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Those who can't let go of the past cannot see the future. Let our present pave a road. What would you do when you began to fade? What would you do when you can't tell the difference between yourself and the mask you wear? What would you do when the skies rain down blood? His eyes were cold, colder than normal. Before it wasn't like that. Before there was always a spark of anger, irritation, or annoyance. But now it was like ice so cold that burns. Sasuke, Naruto plead, come back. His body trembles, from the pain of losing Sasuke or from the bloody arm that was still embedded in him, he doesn't know. Please, Sasuke, come back with me please. His eyes were still cold. Goodbye, Naruto. His arm left Naruto in a swift motion. Naruto's eyes widen in pain. Darkness engulfed him. Black, all he can see now was black. Naruto woke up with a startle, cold sweat dripped down his head, his lungs screams for air. It was a dream, right? He whispered, hands clutching his chest. Sasuke didn't really go with that perverted snake, did he? He smiled weakly, completely disregarding the fact that he had called his rival by name and not the usual BSTRD. It was all a dream, a nightmare. If that's what you want to believe, brat. Fox. Naruto's eyes narrowed. What does that mean? What do you think it means? It didn't happen. It had and it will again. Naruto growled at the comment. But it will again? The meaning to the cryptic message was lost to him. Slowly, he rose from his bed and got ready to meet his team. An air of eeriness washed over him. Something is not right, something feels strange. Walking down the hall. Funny, I don't remember my hall being so wide, or the door so tall, crap. Running into the bathroom in panic, Naruto flung the door open. A small mirror lay on the floor. Almost hesitatively, he picked it up. Oh gods. I'm a chibi. Fox. What, brat? What? I'm a chibi. Naruto wailed. You're 12. Kyubbi corrected calmly. And, in my story, Sasuke betrayed the village at the age of 14, and Naruto had a growth spurt at the age of 13, but he is still shorter than Sasuke, just a bit taller than Sakura. 12. 12, came the indifferent reply. How is that possible? Flashback. It had and it will again. End of flashback. The Valley of Death. I died, didn't I? And you saved me by bringing me back to the past. Kyubbi smirked. You're not as dumb as you made yourself out to be. But yes, I send you back to the past. I see, so I get a second chance to save Sasuke. You have a second chance to be stronger. He was always alone, always overlooked, shadowed, and fading. His mask, for as long as he remembered, shielded him from the world around him. From the glares, hatred, harsh whispers, and coldness. He had worn the jester's mask for so long, played the fool, that he can't see himself anymore. He can't tell whether he was just the lonely child or the ignorant prankster. Who's dead last? Monster? Kyubbi? Or perhaps Uzumaki Naruto, the hero, legacy of a new beginning? Naruto walked down the streets of the Hidden Leaf Village with ease, ignoring the cold eyes that glared at him. To him, this coldness was no longer a concern. To him, it doesn't matter anymore. His dream to be Hokage had faded, and instead, in place of it was his dream to find himself, who he truly is, and saving Sasuke, protecting those who he had once failed. Now Naruto trained day and night, getting stronger. With his memories of the past life and the abilities that he possesses, Naruto had decided that he will not play the fool again. He will become stronger than he ever had, and he will not pretend anymore. He no longer cares for the village. He only cares for his precious people. Everything was the same as before he turned 12, but Naruto vowed that his years after 12 would be different. Very different. Team 7 was worried about Naruto. Lately, the blonde had not been himself. He was no longer the loud, obnoxious dope that they know him as. For the past week, Naruto had been aloof. Naruto didn't greet Sakura with enthusiasm in the morning, He didn't greet at all for that matter. He no longer picks fights with Sasuke. Hell, he didn't even complain about the lame D-ranked mission they have been receiving. Just the other day when Sakura invited Naruto out for ramen, he declined. The ramen-loving dope declined. There is something serious wrong with him, and everyone can't help but worry. After all, it's not every day that one of your teammates would leave happy and come back stoic the next morning. It was another day of boring mission. The cat, which belongs to the Lady of the Fire County, was on the loose again. Truth to be told, the cat was happier to be lost than found. However, a mission is a mission, so thus Kakashi and his team was now deep in the forest, looking for the poor little furball. But fate would have it, favoring the poor furball, refused to let the poor thing being abused any longer, sheltered the tabby professionally and away from the genins. Kakashi sighed and glanced toward his students. It had been hours and there was no sight of the cat. Not that he mind, in his logic the cat would turn up sooner or later. But what bothers him the most at the moment was the silence. Can you believe this? Silence? Team 7, the one with the loudmouth ninja? Unheard of. But here they were, in the deep of the forest, and not a sound. The Jounin sighed again, dejected. This is going to be a long day. Maybe if he tell Naruto that he would train him today, the blonde would be more Naruto. After all, Kakashi reasoned, Naruto had always wanted him to in the past. Flashback. Naruto ran up to one Hatake Kakashi in excitement after training. Hey, I need a favor, he grinned obnoxiously. However, before Naruto could make his request, Kakashi replied lazily but firmly. Stop right there, I already know what you are about to ask. But I'm busy. I've got other things going on. Taking out his Ika paradise, Kakashi continued, I could not give you my full attention. Naruto's bright eyes dulled, but quickly regained his composure and shouted, Let me guess. You're training Sasuke, right? Kakashi shrugged, Now don't complain. Naruto glared hotly at his sensei before turning away. Bleh. I don't need you. I've got other things to do too, he glowered loudly, but inside, his ear clenched painfully. Kakashi sighed and returned to his book as Naruto walked away. End of flashback. Now Kakashi regrets his actions. But feeling sorry won't do anything. He's going to train and pay more attention to Naruto from now on. Meanwhile, Uchiha Sasuke was throwing glares every 2 seconds at his blonde teammate. Annoyed was an understatement. Sasuke was furious. For once the blonde was quiet and Sasuke was not at all happy as he had imagined he would be. But perhaps a part of him was also concerned for Naruto. It seemed strange for the two of them not arguing every minute or so. But still, the dope was seriously getting on his nerves. A part of his mind wondered, when did I let him get so deep under my skin? If anyone asks Sakura what she thinks about Naruto, she would tell you that he's a selfish, arrogant idiot who always picks a fight with Sasuke. If anyone asked her if she had ever cared for Naruto, she would laugh in your face. But here she was, worried, and she hates it. Stupid Naruto. Walking ahead of his team, Naruto was obvious toward the concern of his teammates. In his mind, he was having a deep conversation with Kyubbi. Kyubbi, do you get the feeling that someone is staring holes into the back of my head? Kyubbi snorted, You think? Your sudden change had made everyone uneasy. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone thought that you are planning to take over the world. I guess it is abnormal for someone to change so suddenly. But I don't want to wear my mask again. I nearly couldn't tell it from me. Well, brat, what should we do? If you don't wear your mask, everyone will begin to think that the seal broke, or worst, they would start asking you questions. How can you explain that you were really 14 and had died fighting Sasuke? Let's not forget that you send me back in time. Or the fact that Sasuke was going to betray the village and leave with Orochimaru. Oh yeah, right, that snake Ichimo. Kyubbi, I am serious here. So am I. He has to be a HMO if he goes after Sasuke with such intensity. Naruto sighed good-naturedly. He knows that Kyubbi is trying to cheer him up. But really, Orochimaru a HMO? Now that idea just plain scary. Hopes he will never take interest in me. Falling back on the situation at hand, Naruto sighed again, but this time in frustration. Debating and weighing his options, Naruto finally decided. Oi, Kyubbi, if I ever start to lose myself, call me back? Kyubbi nodded. Of course. So when are you going to put your mask back on? Soon as we find that stupid cat. It wasn't hard to lie. It wasn't hard to trust. It was just hard to face reality. When Naruto had excused his changed behaviors, he had expected people to be suspicious. Not that his story was unbelievable. It was just that he had hoped that someone would look underneath the underneath. But no one did. And almost everyone accepted his explanation with open arms. It was almost as if a part of them knew that Naruto was lying but pushed aside. Naruto sighed. Ah well, at least now I have an excuse to be slightly more serious than before. You're lucky that the festival was just a week before your change, Kyubbi grinned. Goddess of luck must be on your side. Naruto nodded in agreement. The excuse was flawless. I almost felt bad for making Iruka-sensei feel guilty about my predicament. But it's true, in a sense. You had decided to be more serious because of me. You mean because you brought me back to the past, Fox? What else? It certainly wasn't because Mizuki told you about the old so fearsome Kyubbi living inside of you, hitting you like a ton of bricks, and you felt sorry for yourself and decided to walk around half dead like for a couple of weeks. Kyubbi sneered, words dripping in sarcasm. Humans are so pathetic. Naruto rolled his eyes at Kyubbi's colorful insults. You have to admit it, Fox. It was more believable than telling them that I came from the future. Flashback. Naruto, the third, greeted the young boy who stood before him. Team 7 had just returned from a successful D-class mission, Kotabikov, and the third had requested Naruto to stay after. Third would be lying if he says he wasn't concerned with Naruto's behavior for the past few weeks. Naruto had suddenly became silent, for reasons unknown. Do you know why I want to talk to you, Naruto? Third asked gently. Naruto looked back with innocent eyes. No. I don't know. I didn't pull any pranks lately and I have been good. What do you want to talk to me about, Hokusama? Besides him, Iruka, who had volunteered to organize the reports, fidgeted nervously at the tone of respect that Naruto had never shown before. Naruto, Iruka chided softly, how are you feeling? Fine. Why? And no reason, Iruka stammered, not wanting to offend Naruto. You just haven't been yourself lately. Naruto lowered his eyes, in a sad voice, whispered, Oh, I see. Is there something wrong, Naruto? The third asked caringly. Do you hate me? Naruto asked suddenly in tears. Unknown to the third or Iruka, Naruto had practiced his scripts in the forest already and was all ready to put on a show. Do you think I'm Kyubbi? No. Iruka nearly yelled, Of course not, taking Naruto into a warm brotherly hug. Why would you think such thing? He whispered furiously. Because. Naruto sniffed, allowing himself to look vulnerable. Everyone in the festival kept whispering that I'm no better than Kyubbi. I thought that, sniff, if I behave. And, sniff, if I was quiet and stopped being loud they wouldn't hate me and see that I'm not Kyubbi and that I'm a good boy. With that Naruto let out a sob and buried himself into Iruka's embrace. Both adults' heart went out for Naruto. End of flashback. Kyubbi snickered. If I didn't know you were acting, I would have fallen for it too. Naruto grinned widely. What can I say? I was born to act. Kyubbi snorted. As long as no one questioned, Kyubbi could care less what excuse they have to use. Heck, even Kakashi's got lost in the road of life would do. The third observed Naruto through his crystal ball, slightly confused and at the same time amused by Naruto's changing expressions. I wonder what that boy is thinking about. Third puffed his pipe thoughtfully. Poor child, he have such a hard life. If only the villagers can see he as the hero he is. The scene in front of Naruto couldn't get any more cheesier. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and everything just screams, it's so nothing going to be sick. The old Naruto wouldn't be bothered by this. The old Naruto would probably just enhance the scene with his bright and loud attitude, but that was the old Naruto. Now, Naruto wished he could just kill everything in sight. Now I know how Sasuke felt. Poor guy, must have been painful dealing with the old me, always loud, cheerful and bright. Taking a deep breath in, Naruto worn his mask firmly in place and shouted, Ohio Minasan. Almost immediately, the two figures that rested beside a tall sakura tree whipped their head toward the loud and familiar voice. Naruto! Sakura shouted, surprised and relieved that the blonde had conducted himself as the loud person he is once again. Dobe. Sasuke nodded his acknowledgement, body relaxed slightly. It was good to have the ball of energy back, and surprisingly, the loudness wasn't all unwelcoming. Is Kakashi-sensei here yet? I wish he would stop being so late. Naruto grumbled. I want to get more sleep. Ignoring his complaints, Sakura growled, not wanting the blonde to know that she had been worried. She'll never hear the end of it if Naruto finds out. Why have you been so quiet for the last few weeks? She demanded, but then quickly added, not that the peace wasn't nice. In fact, I like it better that way. Naruto sweat a bit. I didn't think up an excuse for them. And I can't use Kyubbi, they're not supposed to know. What do I do? Well, I can always say that I did feel food poisoning? Diamen. Well, Sakura, you see. Backing from the fuming girl, Naruto debated whether or not should he run for it. No. Thinking fast, and in desperation, Naruto say the only thing he believes that just might save him. Sakura-chan. I didn't know you care. I always knew you love me. Somewhere in the depth of his mind, Naruto heard Kyubbi GG. It was a beautiful day out, with the sun shining and the birds singing. One Haruno Sakura exploded. Naruto. The birds scattered. Yo! You're late. Sakura shouted at her lazy teacher. Naruto, who was weakened by Sakura's beating, lay upon the ground twitching, unable to insert his 2 cents worth. Kakashi glanced wearily at Sakura, seeing what happened to Naruto, and was not all eager to receive the same treatment. I said it, you see, I was. Trailing off, Kakashi coughed. Anyway, Tokasama wishes to see us. Inwardly, Naruto smirked. Yup, his plan is working just great. Flashback. Old man. Naruto yelled bravely after his little breakdown. Can you give me tougher missions? Naruto. Irika almost immediately scowled. You're a genin. You are supposed to receive D-ranks missions. In the ninja mission rank dash. Irika got cut off. I want to prove to everyone that I'm not the same idiot I was. I can be serious too, with that neuro, and turn the other way like a 3-year-old, completely shattering his seriousness that toned his argument. Irika sighed along with Hokage, though his was more in defeat while the third was in amusement. Irika looked down at Naruto disapprovingly. Naruto? Just then, the third replied casually, all right. What? Irika and Naruto stared in disbelief at the Hokage. Really, old man? The third nodded. Tomorrow, I'll assign your team a C-rank mission. But Hokage-sama, you can't be serious. They're only genins. Irika argued. The third chuckled. I have confidence in them. All right. Naruto cheered. End of flashback. You think this time I'll be able to save Haku? Maybe. He would be a nice addition to your list of precious people. Let's see, this should be fun. Naruto. A shrill voice called, breaking Naruto from his thoughts. Come on. Seeing that his team had left him far behind, heading for Hokage's tower, Naruto yelled angrily while chasing after them. No fair. Wait for me. Next chapter, D-rank mission and the meetings with the demon brothers, and the first battle with Zabuza. Inside the Hokage's tower, Team 7 stood tirelessly before the leader of the Leaf. Team 7, Sandame informed, completed 23 D-ranked missions in 3 weeks, an average for a genin team. Sasuke twitched. An average? Now, he connoted, taking out a new scroll, your new mission is? However, before Hokage-sama could finish his sentence. No! An angry shout of distress shook the tower. Outside, 2 Umbu tensed and wondered if they should check on their Hokage-sama or not. All eyes turned toward Naruto. What? I didn't say anything, the bewildered blonde denied. Sasuke raised a brow. If it wasn't you, Dobe, then who? Everyone scanned around. Their discovery was shocking and unexpected. Standing in the far corner of the room was one fuming Sakura. She glared dangerously at the Hokage. I don't want another deranked mission, she growled out. All we do is pick garbage, walk dogs, and find cats, she shouted, her face flushed in anger. I'm a ninja. I need to improve myself for my love. I say no. More. Inner Sakura nodded in agreement, whining loudly. Naruto smirked all the while during Sakura's speech. This sound almost like my speech. Kyubbi snickered. True, but yours sound just stupid and obnoxious. Hers actually sounds somewhat intelligent, if not for the love heart. Naruto mentally glared playfully at the teasing insult. I thought my speech was inspiring. Yeah, just about as inspiring as Rock Lee and Guy. Kyubbi howled in laughter. Undignified, Naruto gasped dramatically, don't lump me with those two. Naruto was so enraptured with his conversation, or was it argument, with Kyubbi that he did not realize that Sakura had long stopped ranting and everyone was now staring at him. Naruto? A worry Irika chided softly. Naruto? A silent Naruto always worries people. It just seems so wrong. Hearing his name, Naruto ended his talk with Kyubbi and JRK back to reality. Regaining his consciousness, Naruto, Ed, and looked around frantically like a lost child as if asking, where am I? Why is everyone staring at me? He asked, confused. Everyone's sweat dropped at the boy's antic and shook their heads in defeat. Naruto will always be Naruto. Sandaime chuckled amusedly. Well, Naruto, I asked you if you felt the same as your teammate, nodding toward the now flushed girl. Do you want a harder mission? Hokage's eyes twinkled playfully. Naruto snorted inwardly. Like the old man is going to say after that little episode. Hell yeah, old man. Naruto shouted excitedly, bouncing around. He was practically glowing. Irika scowled at Naruto lightly. Naruto, be respectful. But Irika-sensei. No buts. He's the Hokage. And thus, Irika began his long and lengthy lecture of why Naruto should be respectful toward Hokage-sama. Team 7 sighed. The blonde was hopeless. Sasuke grunted at Irika's lecture, thinking along the lines, like the dope cares, and I'm stuck with idiots. Meanwhile, Sakura stood beside her crush calmly. However, inner Sakura was liven. What an idiot. Why can't he be more like Sasuke-kun? If Naruto caused us to lose this once-in-a-lifetime chance to get a better mission. At this, inner Sakura's eyes gleamed maliciously. I'll kill him. As all this was going on, the Jounin stood unmoved and bored. In his hand was his precious orange book. Read on, Kakashi, read on. Staring at the confident genins before him, Hokage-sama decided to ask for one last time, are you all certain? A chorus of yes was heard. Nodding solemnly, all right, I'll give you a C-ranked mission. Naruto's eyes lighted up. Wave country, here I come. Looking over at his teammates, Naruto fought the urge to roll his eyes. Sakura giggled gleefully and latched herself onto Sasuke. Judging by the blush I detect, I bet Sakura is thinking of how her knight in shining armor is going to protect her. Speaking of the bee, even with Sakura hanging off his arm, Sasuke managed to pull of a smirk. Team, you are to escort and protect someone to the wave. Informed them. Kakashi nodded offhandedly, nose still in Ika Paradise. Irika shot him a dirty look. Ano esse. Naruto grinned. Who are we protecting, old man? Ignoring Naruto's lack of respect, Sandaime waved his hand, commanding the door to be open. You may come in now, Tsuzunasen. An old, drunken man walked in, his face red and body swaying due to the sake. What? These brats are going to be the one protecting me? He slurred. The genins glared. Ma, Kakashi drawled out. My team is very capable and besides, I'm a jounin. Tazuna looked not persuaded. Just make sure you can get the job done. Naruto growled. I forgot how annoying he was. Look here, old man. Naruto yelled offended. I'll be Hokage one day. So, don't you worry. I'll get the job done. The said old man raised a brow. A pipsqueak wants to become Hokage? Not likely. Naruto saw red and made for a launch. However, Sasuke grounded him, an arm tightly secured around Naruto's waist. Naruto squirmed. Let me at him. Let me at him. Stop it, Dobe. He's our employer. Sasuke hissed, all the while wondering what he had done to deserve such a faith. Kakashi and Sakura sweat dropped at the scene. Naruto, this is going to be a long trip. Alright, Kakashi coughed, gaining back his students' attention. Met in 5 Minchu's Team 7 by the gate, he ordered. Naruto ran home in glee. I can't wait to meet Haku again. He grinned, he's really not bad, you know? Kyubbi nodded in agreement. He and you are alike in ways. Yes, we both have our precious people to protect, Naruto mused. Of course, and both your and his precious person are alike. Sasuke used you as a stepping stone to power, betraying you, and Zabuza used Haku as a tool. No! Naruto snarled. His hand clenched tightly into a fist, drawing blood. Sasuke is not going to betray me and Haku won't die. Not this time. Naruto's breathe ragged. Not this time. Naruto had arrived just a little after 5 minutes. It took another 20 minutes before Kakashi-sensei showed up. You're late. Mama, I needed to pack all my treasures, replied the lazy Jounin. Naruto didn't even bother commenting after that. He had a pretty good idea just what these treasures of his teachers was. There is no doubt as he spotted something orange peeking out of his sensei's pouch. Perverts. The walk to wave was almost uneventful and boring. Naruto didn't make any small conversations as he was so busy making plans with Kyubbi. While Sakura did more than enough talking for the both of them, asking questions, and hitting on Sasuke. No one noticed much of the lack of response from Naruto. Get ready, Brett. We're almost there. In fact, I think I see the puddle just ahead. Naruto nodded. Grinning to himself, it's show time. This time, I'm going to fight too. Body tensed, and fingers itching for weapons, Naruto walked cautiously toward the puddle. In the corner of his eyes, he saw Kakashi-sensei tipped Sasuke off. A pinch of jealousy entered Naruto's heart. So that's how Team was so unnerved. Naruto thought bitterly. Despite what Kakashi had said about training Naruto during those weeks when Naruto had been weird, Kakashi did not make good of his promises. Out of sight, out of mind. Naruto growled in annoyance. Well, who needs him when I got these? Fingers intertwined gracefully around his special kunais. It'll show them all. Just then the demon brothers struck. From the genjutsu in which they hid, twin chains of dagger ripped headed straight for Kakashi, ripping him to pieces. Both Sasuke and Naruto acted fast, and somewhere in the background they faintly heard Sakura shriek in fear. Sasuke ran toward one of the demon brothers, attacking with solely taijutsu. Jumping up into the air, Sasuke spun and kicked the attacker with a surprising amount of force, sending the heavy-armored demon flying. Meanwhile, Naruto flung his kwanis. The blades glazed past the brother. Look like you are not as good as your friend over there, the brother mocked. Naruto smirked. No, I'm better. Naruto curled his hands together. A sudden pressure washed over the brother. Inani. You see, Naruto's hand tightened. The kunais are meant to glide past you. The brother gasped for breath as the pressure increased. I attached a special, durable strings on those kunais, and as you can see, Naruto's hand tightened into a fist. The pressure doubled. With a little of chakra, I am able to exhaust you. The brother paled. Just as the brother was about to faint from the lack of air. That's enough, Naruto. Kakashi shimmered out of his hiding. Sensei! Sakura exclaimed in relief. Naruto glared, but complied. All the while, Sasuke stared at Naruto with narrow eyes. How can a dobe like him know such an effective attack? Unknown to him, Kakashi was pondering along the same lines. With the demon brothers tied up, Kakashi forced Tazuna to tell them the full extent of the mission. Wave is a poor country, Tazuna begged. This is all I can afford it. We need the bridge. We are only a genin team, Kakashi argued. We are not ready for this. Naruto rumbled. No way, sensei. We can take it. You said so yourself. We are capable. Sasuke nodded in agreement. His mind was filled with excitement and the hunger to test himself. Kakashi sighed. All right, but there is no turning back once we continue, he warned. Sakura, not wanting to be viewed as weak in front of her crush, replied, We won't. So thus, the journey continued on. Haku, Zabuza, this time it'll be different. The fog is thickening, Naruto grimaced. And we haven't even thought up a plan that would work. Perhaps you shouldn't think about saving Haku now, Kyubbi suggested. Perhaps you should think of how to save him during our little fight on the bridge. Naruto nodded, but his doubts were beginning to sink in. But what if I can't save him? What if I screw up? Saving Haku was so much easier when it was all done in my head, but carrying it out? Actually putting the plan to motion? It seems almost impossible. You won't. Now, stop complaining and get ready for the attack. Kyubbi snarled, clearly annoyed by Naruto's doubts. Naruto smirked half-heartedly. Leave Kyubbi for harsh pep talks. The fog got thicker. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura asked nervously, when will we get there? If Naruto had not known better, it would seem like Sakura was just asking an innocent question. However, Naruto knew better. The pink-haired girl was apprehensive, clearly worried by the thickening fog. The clenching fist was a dead giveaway. We are almost there, Kakashi drawled. Although it appears that their sensei was relaxed, Naruto noticed how stiff Kakashi was holding his book and thought better. Sensei is on guard. He must predict that Gaodu would hire more than just one ninja to do the job. And indeed Kakashi was stiff. After the little run-in with the demon brothers, Kakashi was sure that the next opponent would be at the very least a jounin. I really hope my team is ready for this. Kakashi thought to himself. His eyes glanced toward Naruto. Although Naruto's earlier display of skills was amazing, Kakashi still had his doubts. Could it be Kyubbi's doing? After all, Naruto now knows the fox's existence. Would the treatment of the village force the boy to seek revenge? With so many possibilities and outcome of Naruto's future, Kakashi decided that he would have to keep a closer eye on the boy. It's not like I don't trust him, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Meanwhile, Naruto secured his bag and head protector tightly around his body as his right hand wrapped around his kunai. 1, 2, 3, Naruto counted, 4, 5, 6, now. With that, Naruto threw the kunai in the direction where the rabbit was. Everyone tensed. The kunai sailed through the bushes, imprinting itself deep into the trunk of a tree. Beneath it, a white rabbit lies unconscious. Naruto! Sakura screeched. What do you think you are doing? Scaring us like that? Naruto winced at the pink-haired girl's voice. Ano sa, I thought there was someone there. Naruto grinned sheepishly. Sakura scowled. Quit trying to act cool, Naruto. But I really thought it was a trap. Naruto whined. Sasuke glared. Dope, don't get everyone work up for nothing. What did you say, team? I said, Sasuke taunted. You are a D-dash. All right, enough. Kakashi shouted, all the while shaking his head. What did I do to deserve this? And just when I was beginning to consider that Naruto actually have some intelligence in him. Distracted by the commotion that Naruto had caused, Kakashi almost missed the presence of Zabuza. Eyes widened slightly in mild surprise. Kakashi glanced at the fainted rabbit in realization. So it was a decoy. He deducted after careful examination of the fur color. It was spring, yet the rabbit was white. Mina, stand back, Kakashi barked. Sasuke and Naruto stopped their argument. What's going on, sensei? Sakura squeaked nervously. Is something wrong? The rabbit was a distraction. A jounin is up ahead, Kakashi hissed. The fog thickened. Why, if it isn't the copycat ninja? A devious voice floated through the mist. No wonder why the demon brothers failed. Team 7 tensed. Demon of the mist, Kakashi greeted neutrally, his right hand lift to uncover his hidden Sharingan. I did not know my reputation preceded me. Naruto grinned inwardly. His stomach was flopping with anticipation. Next to him, Sasuke also shivered in excitement. Sasuke took a step forward. Seeing his student's action, Kakashi spread his left arm, blocking Sasuke. This is not your fight. He is out of your league. Sasuke glared at the statement. He was the top rookie genin. Naruto on the other hand smirked. With all the training and help from Kyubbi? Zabuza is out of my league. Zabuza doesn't seem to care much for the little teacher-to-student conversation that was going on. Step aside, Kakashi. My business is with the old man. And the old man is our client, Kakashi stated flatly. I am your business. So be it, copycat ninja, Zabuza frowned in distaste. The head protector above the Sharingan was removed. The 3 dots inside the red eyes wheeled madly. Let's go. Ah, the Sharingan already? I am honored. The killer intent from both parties ripped through the air. Sasuke shook in fear. He has the Sharingan, but only the Uchiha clan possesses it. The killer intent. He'll kill us all. I can't, I'm afraid. Sensing his student's terror, Kakashi threw his team a soft smile. Don't worry, Sasuke. All of you are my students, and I will protect you with my life. Quiet. Naruto hissed to himself. Zabuza laughed. How touching, Kakashi. But ninjas are just tools, and you should worry about yourself than them. The mist had become so dense that Team 7 can hardly see each other through it. Liver, heart, lungs. Zabuza recited the fatal parts of the human anatomy. Where should I strike first? Behind, Naruto's mind whispered. Before Zabuza even appeared, Naruto made a sprain toward Tazuna. Cut. Naruto's kunai clashed with Zabuza's sword. Both Naruto and Zabuza was pushed back an inch. Zabuza's eyes widened. How did that brat know where will I strike? I'm afraid, Zabuza-san, Naruto said in mock sweetness. You should worry about yourself. Zabuza growled. Is that so, brat? He brought his sword down for a second blow. Just the 3 kunais intercepted his swing. Copycat Kakashi teleported in front of him, hands forming for the grand fireball. Naruto! Stand back! Naruto frowned, but complied. Let him deal with Zabuza, Kyubbi said. Watch them both carefully. You just might pick up new jutsu. I suppose. Sakura and Sasuke threw the obvious Naruto a weird look. Something about the blonde for the past few weeks just doesn't seem right. How can one become so strong in such a short amount of time? The battle between Kakashi and Zabuza raged on. One powerful attack after another, Naruto committed all of them into his memories. From the looks of things, Kakashi had the upper hand. The ability to predict the opponent's next move was a definite advantage for Kakashi. Even with the Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu that Zabuza had created, Kakashi had held his ground. Give up, Zabuza, Kakashi yelled through his combination attacks of taijutsu. You can't win. However, perhaps it was Kakashi's confidence and ignorance that had caused him to fail to foresee the water prison that Zabuza had formed, or perhaps it was because Zabuza's years of practice of performing the signs, making it too fast for Kakashi to dodge. Either way, Kakashi didn't notice until too late. And Nani? The water encaged Kakashi. Sensei! Sakura screamed as inner Sakura gasped in horrors, repeating, we are going to die, over and over in her head. Sasuke and Naruto moved forward. Unwilling to send his newly graduated team against such a strong opponent. Run! Kakashi shouted from within his prison. Naruto frowned. Just like him, always lecturing out rules and morals, but never to follow through. Sensei, I'm afraid that is out of the option, Naruto replied calmly. You had told us yourself, those who don't follow the rules are trash. But those who abandon teammates are lower than trash. At this, Naruto threw a stern glare at Kakashi. We will fight, he declared determinedly. Naruto, Kakashi thought and wonders, what? When did you grow so much? Sasuke, seeing the truth in Naruto's statement, nodded in agreement. Sasuke, Naruto called out, throwing a secret, knowing glance at him, let's go wild. Sasuke nodded. Sakura, protect Tazuna while Naruto and I get Sensei out of there. Sasuke-kun. Sakura sighed, completely disregarding Naruto's adult comment. Figures, the girl only have her eyes on her Sasuke-kun. Do you brats honestly believe that you can take on me? Zabuza laughed maliciously. Do you know why I am called the Demon of the Mist? Yes, Naruto responded lazily. Zabuza, not even a genin, killed everyone in your graduating class. The mist believes that only the strongest deserve to advance. Unfortunately, that also includes the exam in which you must kill your assigned opponent. May he or she be your rival, friend, or love. Naruto snorted. Did I miss anything? How did you know? You're just a genin. Zabuza voiced the very question that everyone had in mind. Naruto smirked. Found it in the bingo book? I was disappointed. It doesn't sound like you did much. Did much? I had killed more than you would ever in your life. So you said. Naruto's eyes flashed red. Inside the water prison, Kakashi tensed. So it is Kyubbi's doing. Sasuke. Naruto yelled toward his rival and best friend. Let's show him why you received the title #1 rookie. And let's show him what a true demon is like. Shocked by Naruto's new attitude, Sasuke could even manage to dish any witty comments. He just nodded and followed Naruto's lead. Of course, the proud Yukio would later kill himself than admit that he actually followed the Dobe's lead. The plan was simple but brilliant. No communication was needed. Both boys just know what to do. Well, okay, maybe only one of them know what to do. Sasuke charged at the water clone as Naruto attacked with his shadow ones. If the combined attack fails, they would change to plan B. Not that I would tell team what it is, Naruto grinned smugly. Why don't you use your chakra-enhanced strings this time? Good idea. Maybe we can get Haku to step in before Kakashi-sensei use up all his chakra. Like last time, Plan A failed. As Naruto sailed through the air, he pulled out his bag and threw Sasuke the Fuma Shuriken. Sasuke caught it and grinned. So this is what Naruto had in mind. Taking the weapon in hand, Sasuke leered, Fuma Shuriken, the wind demon. The shuriken went flying at the direction of Zabuza and his clone. The clone was by the shadow shuriken destroyed, but Zabuza dodged it. It was then did Naruto made his entrance. Transforming from the shuriken back to his original state, Naruto threw his chakra-enhanced strings at Zabuza. Zabuza tried to deflect the kunais, and released Kakashi in a moment of haste. However, Naruto's shadow clone, who was ignored in the mist of the true Naruto's appearance, threw more of his special kunais at Zabuza. All kunais hit their target. Not bad for some brats, right? Naruto grinned cheekily. Zabuza growled. Naruto's fingers curled. Just then, needles came flying at Zabuza. Naruto whipped his head toward the direction of the needles. About time, Haku, Naruto smiled as Zabuza's lifeless body hit the ground. Fidgeting ignorance, Naruto turned toward the masked Nin in anger. Who do you think you are? Why did you do that? He was mine. Naruto. Kakashi scowled. He's a hunter Nin. So? Naruto challenged. Kakashi shook his head. Naruto? He warned. The hunter Nin ignored Naruto's accusing stare. Thank you for your assistance. However, Zabuza is a missing mist Nin. There are secrets that we missed would like to keep. I will take it from here, Haku said calmly. Naruto smirked inwardly. Oh, I bet there are secrets. Look like you will, Kakashi nodded. The hunter Nin bowed and picked up Zabuza's body. A swirl of leaves engulfed the Nin and Zabuza. When the wind died down, they were gone. Get better soon, Zabuz? Naruto thought, I can't wait to see you again. And this time, I'll make sure you will not die. Perhaps I can even persuade both of you to join the leaves instead. Throughout the whole time, Kakashi was staring at Naruto besides the sidelines. Something was very wrong with Naruto despite what Sandaime had told him. And the change of colors in Naruto's eyes, Kakashi narrowed his eyes. Yes, he will definitely keep a closer eye on Naruto. See, Kakashi instructed, let's get going. Everyone nodded. And off they were. Tazuna smiled. I really misjudged the midget. He really is something. Naruto glared at the surrounding before him, or more specificity, the tree before him. Despite the fact that he had trained earlier on his chakra control, he still could not maintain a perfect balance necessary to STMLT the power to diffuse into lowly jutsus. Thus, now he stared at the great tree in front of him with much dislike. All right, team. Kakashi grinned. To increase our chance of survival, we are going to climb trees. Team 7 fell sideways at their teacher's abnormal cheerfulness and bluntness. Sensei. Sakura, being the first one to recover, screamed. What is the meaning of this? Why are we climbing trees? And what survival? Kakashi sighed. It seems that the pink girls still don't truly understand what it means to be a shinobi yet. Taking a deep breath, This is going to be a long day. Kakashi gave all his student a meaningful glare and said, Zabuza is not dead. I didn't notice it then, but I suspect that our Hunter-san was an accomplice. Kakashi's visible eye darkened slightly, blaming himself for his carelessness. We are doing the tree climbing exercises to improve your chakra control. And thus, it concluded his blunt statement. Naruto bit his lip to muffle his snickers. The deadpanned look upon his sensei is just too much. 2 words, perfect description. However, Kakashi heard the muffled snicker through his acute hearing and gave Naruto a hard glare. I expect you to be more serious, Naruto. Out of all of you, your chakra control is the worst. Naruto stopped his chuckles immediately. I know, sensei, he muttered. Insidious. What? I'll show him. My control may not be perfect, but it's still better than Sasuke and maybe Sakura. Suddenly, with a mischievous glint, Naruto smirked. Ano esse, sensei. If we get this control down, will you teach us some justice? Sasuke and Sakura both looked at Kakashi intensively. Kakashi glanced over at Naruto then at Sasuke thoughtfully. If I agree, maybe I could help Sasuke stay away the road of revenge. It will also prove to be a motivation. Finally, with a smug look, he replied, I don't see why not. Naruto smirked. Alright, Yoshi. Thus, it was the beginning of a race to see who could reach the treetop first. Oh, Brad, are you really going to do your best? Kyubbi asked questioningly as Naruto ran right into the tree. Of course not, stupid fox. There is nothing that Kakashi-sensei knows that I don't. I just want to get Sasuke and Sakura away so I could practice alone. Naruto hissed. Not sticking to the tree is a lot harder than sticking to the tree now that I had somewhat mastered my chakra control. Meanwhile, Sakura smiled happily on the top of the tree staring at the boys below. This sure is easy. Spying Sasuke advancing for the top, Sakura couldn't help but yell out her encouragement. Sasuke-kun, Gambat! Naruto snapped at Sakura's voice. That's it. I completely forgotten about her. A wily idea struck Naruto. Yep, this will work nicely. Walking up to the tree which Sakura prech, Naruto yelled out in his most annoying voice. Sakura-chan. Sakura winced. Inner Sakura fumed. What does he want? What, Naruto? She growled. Still smiling. Come down, Sakura. Come down. I got something to ask you. Not wanting to hear Naruto's obnoxious screams, Sakura gave a one last growl and jumped down from the tree. Once upon the ground, Sakura glared at the blonde. Nanny? Well, Sakura, Naruto feigned an innocent yet pathetic look. You know that I'm not good with this, and I really want to learn some new justice. And since you are so good at this, could you? Throwing in an embarrassed look, could you teach me? Sakura stood eyes widen in shock. Who would have thought Naruto would be so mature? Meanwhile, Naruto mistaken Sakura's silence as a sign of rejection, he immediately injected. Please, Sakura-chan. I really want to beat Sasuke. Upon hearing this, Sakura twitched. So that's his really reason. Sighing, she shook her head. She should have expected that. All right, she muttered. I'll give you some advice. Whispering some word of wisdom to Naruto, Sakura stalked off to look for Kakashi-sensei, hoping to improve her skills. After all, Sakura want to impress Sasuke. Naruto grinned. Everything is going according to plan. Now I just need to get rid of Sasuke. He thought gleefully. It was almost afternoon, when Sasuke noticed that Naruto was catching up to him. Narrowing his eyes, Sasuke glared at the blonde. I can't let him catch up. Naruto grinned inwardly, noticing Sasuke's frustration. Any moment now. He smirked. He's going to come ask me what Sakura had told me, any moment now. And true to Naruto's prediction, the Uchiha prodigy finally manages to swallow his pride and stalked over toward Naruto. Hey dope, he started offhandedly, looking everywhere put at Naruto. What did you ask Sakura about? His face flushed a light red. Naruto smirked. Oh, he raised a brow. Asking for help, team? Naruto teased lightly. Sasuke bit back a growl. God, this is so embarrassing, asking the dead last for help. However, the desire to learn, to gain more power for his goal was strong, and Sasuke wanted to master the stupid exercise fast. glaring at Naruto. Yeah, so? Now, what did she say? He snapped. Not wanting to lose the chance to get rid of Sasuke, Naruto let out a defeated sigh. The jester mask firmly in place, Naruto said in a casual manner, well, not like whatever she said, it's useful anyway. Scowling, she said something about doing things in my own pace. That I shouldn't concentrate on how to best you, that if I do, potentials that I have will never be discovered. Throwing in a confused look, Naruto continued, if I continue to compare my work to others, if I continue try to push myself to defeat you, I will never defeat you, simply because I overthink too much and underachieve everything. I always think how good you are and always comparing myself to you, I neglect the potentials and abilities I do have. While running around trying to gain what you have and what I don't have, I do nothing to improve what I do have. I only see your strong points, but neglect to look for your weakness to use against you. I let my emotion overrule me and become unfocused on what I have at hand, so that's why I couldn't obtain my task. Naruto conclude. Turning towards Sasuke, Naruto opened his eyes that he unknowingly closed. On look at the stunned face that Sasuke had, Naruto knew he screw up. I forgot that I shouldn't be so intelligent. Not that what I said is not true, but hesitatively Naruto added, of course, that's what Sakura-chan said, at least, I don't get it at all. Sasuke nodded numbly as the words sink in. Of course, that's what Sakura-chan said at. Sakura, of course. Sasuke snapped out of his daze, Sakura. There is no way that dope came up with all that. Sakura said it. She's a smart girl, yeah, she said it. Shaking away his shock, Sasuke thought over what Naruto had said. Oh, Sakura had said. Maybe he's right after all. Flashback. While running around trying to gain what you have and what I don't have, I do nothing to improve what I do have. I only see your strong points, but neglect to look for your weakness to use against you. I let my emotion overrule me and become unfocused on what I have at hand, so that's why I couldn't obtain my task. And a flashback. Maybe, just maybe, Sasuke thought I should stop comparing myself to Itachi. Maybe I should improve myself before I bother with revenge. Flashback. You with the dark hair, Kakashi called. Your turn. I'm Yukiya Sasuke. I don't have any likes. I have many dislikes. My only dream, goal is to restore my clan and to kill a certain man. And a flashback. Restore my clan, huh? Maybe I should do that first. Hidden nearby, Kakashi nodded approvingly at Naruto's words. Even though there are Sakuras, he thought, thank you for tell him that, Naruto. It didn't take long for Sasuke to master the tree climbing exercise, especially now his mind is cleared. Smiling smugly at his accomplishment, Sasuke stared at his teammate with some gratitude and a newfound respect. Not that he will ever tell the blonde. Meanwhile, the said blonde continued to run up the tree before losing control quarter from the top. Sasuke smiled softly. Well, since he helped me, I guess I could stay and keep the dope company. Hey dope. You are doing it all wrong. Sasuke smirked and walked over toward him. Naruto stared at Sasuke curiously. Aren't you going to find Kakashi-sensei? You made it to the top, didn't you? Sasuke threw him a superior smirk. Yeah, but I can't just leave you, can I? You probability will drop dead from chakra exhaustion due to your stupidity. Naruto stared at the black-haired shinobi in horrors. Oh, my plans. He cried. In the back of his mind, Naruto swore he heard Kyubbi laughing. Sasuke started at the ceiling, wide awake. No matter how much he tries, he just can't seem to fall asleep. Was it because of what Naruto had said before? He doesn't know. However, what he does know, realized he never truly understands and knows his own teammate. Naruto is like a cryptic puzzle. For the whole month now, the blonde had surprised him in more than one way. When Sasuke had confronted Sakura about the speech, she had all flat out denied it. Knowing Sakura, if she did said such speech, she would take credit for it. After all, it is like Sakura to want to impress him. Yet, she was genuinely confused when Sasuke asked her about it. She had told him that she had never heard such speech, let alone to have such insight to create such thing. So, the only conclusion Sasuke could draw was that the speech was solely Naruto's alone. Could he have misjudged the blonde? Sasuke was in turmoil. Naruto had suddenly become someone Sasuke wanted to figure out. Flashback. Inari came into the room just as everyone sat down for dinner. Staring at Team 7's cheerful attitude, Inari felt a surge of anger erupting from his body. Why are they so happy? Gaudu would just kill them like he had done with his father. Inari didn't understand why these people would try so hard. You are all going to die, he shouted tearfully, hitting his hands at the table suddenly. You should just give up. Sasuke looked away, ignoring the outburst. After all, it means nothing to him. However, the shaking blonde beside him had Sasuke look at Inari with more annoyance than usual. Naruto's face was hidden by the shadows, and even then, you could tell the face was not a happy one. Inari stared on, while everyone sat in silence. The tension filled the room. Sakura looked back and forth between Inari and Naruto. Not actually knowing what to do, she opens her mouth to consult both parties. It was then that Naruto slammed his hand down on the table with a loud bam. His eyes were furious as he glared at the little boy before him. So you are just going to sit there and cry like a baby? The blonde snarled. Sasuke was startled. Never had he seen his teammates so angry. And judging by the faces of his team, neither did the others. Just cry then, Naruto continued on. Play the tragic hero. Just go on and cry. If that is all you do, then you are better off dead. Naruto! Sakura gasped. That's enough. Naruto ignored the pink-haired girl and walked out the door. Inari ran to his room crying. And a flashback. After that, Sasuke tried to find Naruto after dinner. But without any luck. Deep down he viewed Naruto as his only friend. Sasuke thought he knew everything about the blonde. After all, Naruto was predictable. Yet now, Naruto was like a stranger. When did the blonde become so mature? Was Naruto hiding his true potential from the very beginning? Shaking aside all his unanswered questions, Sasuke clutched his hands in determination. He is going to crack this cryptic puzzle. Naruto groaned softly at the morning sun. The ray landed too close to his sensitive eyes for comfort. How did I end up here? He groaned softly. Shifting around, Naruto never thought the ground would feel so soft. Breathing slowly, still in the mist of sleep, Naruto barely noticed an approaching figure. It was not until the person's hand reached out for him did Naruto register that he was not alone. Hey, a gentle voice called, you would catch a cold. Naruto smiled mentally. Haku, his mind whispered. Knowing that he would not be in any real danger, as of yet, Naruto opened his eyes slowly. Hello, he greeted, his voice still carries his sleepy state. Who are you? Naruto asked innocently, pretending to be confused. I'm Haku and you are? The pretty boy in front of him said. You shouldn't be sleeping out here, the boy scowled lightly. I'm Naruto. And I wasn't sleeping. Naruto protested, vaguely recalling the same conversation they had in his past. I was training. Training? Are you a ninja? Haku inquired. His eyes dimmed a bit. Yeah. And I am going to be the strongest one day. Naruto grinned. Haku asked sadly, are you training for someone? Your precious person? Do you have one? Looking at Naruto, Haku stated seriously, you can only be truly strong when you have someone precious to protect. Precious someone? Naruto's eyes softened. Yes, I have Irika-sensei, Tsunade, Ero-sensei, the old man, my friends, Yumina, everyone, even Kyubbi. I know what you mean. Haku grinned. Well, then I know you will become the strongest, Naruto-kun. Naruto nodded in agreement. I bet you will too, Haku-kun. Haku's eyes widened, shocked that Naruto could tell that he was a boy. However, his face softens at the carefree boy. Well, I better get going, Haku smiled. Getting up, he walked away. We will meet again, Naruto-kun. I know, Hunter-san, Naruto said sadly after the departing figure. The figure stopped in his track, tensed. Don't worry, Haku-kun, Naruto continued. I'm sure everything will be fine. Not turning to couldn't face Naruto, Haku muttered a sad, I hope, and walked away, not hearing the soft me too that Naruto uttered. Sasuke walked deep into the forest, looking for his loud-mouthed teammate. He had a feeling that Naruto might be at the training ground. Maybe he could get Naruto to answer some of his unanswered questions. Coming to the clearing, he saw the blonde talking to a girl. Something inside him stirred. Who is she? He wondered as the girl passed him. Not liking the idea that Naruto talking to some strangers friendlier than he would with him, Sasuke threw the disappearing figure a glare before making his way toward Naruto. Dope! Sasuke called out causally, "You missed breakfast." Naruto shrugged. "I was training," he answered offhandedly. "What do you want, team?" "Nothing," Sasuke denied, despite the urge to shake Naruto in frustration and demand him to answer his questions. "Who was that girl? What are you hiding underneath your mask? What are you afraid of? Why won't you? Tell me?" "Sensei told us to continue or exercise," Sasuke said instead. Naruto nodded in acknowledgement before questioning, "You, too? But you mastered it." Sasuke looked away, trying to find an excuse. "He wants me to help you, seeing how bad you are at it." Silently, Sasuke added, "And I want to uncover your secrets." Not wanting Sasuke around any longer than he has to, Naruto stated haughtily, "I mastered it. I was training all night. I don't need any more help." His chest puffed in fake pride. Sasuke glared. Unknown to him, it was exactly the same thought as Kakashi, who was hiding the trees above them. Naruto smirked inwardly. "Suspicious are we, Sasuke? Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto had long sensed his hidden sensei. "Well, I'm going to go eat now," Naruto beamed, walking toward the house. "Man, am I hungry!" Leaving two very frustrated shinobis after him. Naruto glared at the wall in front of him. Not only is his teacher suspicious, but his teammates as well. Ever since the tree climbing exercise, both his teammates have been staring after with curiosity, suspicion, uncertainty. Well, whatever it is, Naruto felt like he was being dissected, a specimen being studied. And it's getting on his nerves. He doesn't understand what had brought this on. Sure, he had predicted that Kakashi would act like this. After all, the man was very insightful and observant. But his teammates, now that was something he didn't anticipate it on. Naruto remembers that time when he had caught Sakura staring, he had asked her what's wrong. But all he received was a nervous, nothing, and a weird look from the pink girl. Moreover, the girl had been nicer to him nowadays. Sasuke, too, had been particular these days. Often he would suggest Naruto to train together. As if he is waiting for Naruto to do something out of the ordinary. Perhaps he shouldn't have lectured Sasuke on power and revenge? Naruto doesn't know anymore. What he does know is that he screw up somehow and it's bad. Inari, now he is something Naruto also worries about. He knows that his speech the other night had a big impact on the little boy, but sometimes the boy just says the strangest things. Flashback. "It must have been hard for you, and..." Inari tugged sadly at the blonde's sleeve. "I'm sorry." And a flashback. "It must have been hard for you? What the hell is that about?" Naruto questioned. "Your guess is as good as mine, Kit." Kyubbi answered. Naruto was to never discover the conversation Kakashi and Inari had. The next day, Naruto slept in, or rather faked to be dead asleep. Vaguely, he heard his sensei telling the others to not bother him. "Let him sleep," Kakashi said. "The bridge will be complete today, and after that our mission would be over. The three of us are more than enough to protect Tazuna-san." The others muttered their agreements. Opening the door, they left. Naruto smiled under the bed cover. Showtime. It wasn't long before Naruto got ready for the unwelcome party that was approaching Inari and his mother. What happened unfolded like an old photo book. Inari cast away his fears and charged at the samurais, trying to save his mother. Naruto saved Inari from the being sliced into two. Save Inari's mother, and knock the villains out. "Good job, Inari." Naruto patted the little boy on the head. "You were really brave." Inari sobbed tearfully. "Of course, I'm going to be a hero," he said proudly. "There is no doubt you will be," Naruto grinned. "Take care of these two for me, Inari." Naruto smirked. "I got to go. Remember, the hero always arrives late just to save the day." With that, Naruto rushed toward the bridge. "Kit, aren't you forgetting something?" Kyubbi asked. "What?" "One word, Gaoru." Kyubbi stated smugly, as if he knows something that Naruto doesn't. "What about him?" Naruto questioned. Kyubbi sighed. His host sure is slow. Don't you remember the last time on the bridge? Kyubbi elaborated. The part when Gaoda showed up? Naruto narrowed his eyes. How can he forget? The team insulted the dying Haku. Suddenly something clicked. Naruto halted his running. Eyes widened in realization. Oh, you mean? Exactly. Kyubbi smirked. Zabuza only fight because he was paid to. If Gao is dead, well, dead man can't pay, now can they? Naruto smirked with his demon. No, dead man can't pay. Understanding where Kyubbi is going at, Naruto laid out a plan. Everything will be fine. The words came back to him. His smirk widens. Biting his thumb, Naruto slammed his hand down on the ground forcefully. Summoning no Justu, he shouted. Smoke erupted as a big brown fox with two tails appeared. Find Gaoda for me, Naruto commanded. The fox looked at Naruto curiously. Who are you? The fox asked uncertainly. There was never a contract with Fox created, yet this boy summoned him. I am the host of Kyubbi. Naruto recited his speech with Kyubbi earlier carefully. I ask for your assistant. Hearing the name of the great fox, the little one yipped in delight. I'll help, it bobbed its head eagerly. Do you want this Gaotu, alive or dead? Dead, Naruto confirmed. Bring the body to the bridge. The fox nodded and ran off. Naruto smiled after it. Did I ever thank you for the contract with foxes? He asked Kyubbi. No, Kyubbi growled. Well, thanks. Running once again toward his destination, Naruto prayed that Kakashi haven't used the Chidori yet. Sometimes it is difficult to let go of a dream that you desperately wanted. It is difficult to admit that it will never happen, never to become a reality. And such painful truth is hard to accept, hard to embrace. And thus you don't. You don't let go, can't admit, and won't accept. It is when you deny the very real facts do you lost to your emotions, longing in eternity for something that will never be yours. Haku was one of those people, a person who cannot accept the painful reality. Many nights he lied to himself, saying that it does not matter, repeating over and over again that he was to be a human tool. Yet, killing, it was something that he could never accomplish. For joy, for necessary, for survival, for Zabuza-sama. It does not matter for who or what, he could not do it. Yet, in his dreams, it was a field of red. He screams, he cries, the blood kept pouring down. Tainted, unwanted, a tool for his master, Haku tried. He tried hard to be a good tool, an obedient tool. But never in his wildest dream did Haku thought it was possible to be something else. Naruto, the mere name brought forward a new sense of hope. Perhaps he could be more than a tool. Perhaps he could be something else. No more red, no more blood, no more killing, no more running. Haku would not just be a tool for Zabuza-sama, he could be something else. A companion, a friend, a precious someone. It was a dream that could never be reached, he knows, yet Haku dreamed, couldn't stop hoping. It was a dream that he refused to let go. A truth that he couldn't admit to. A reality he won't embrace. So he dreamed, hoped, wished, and it was on that bridge did his dream, hope, wish came very close in becoming a reality. Kakashi grimaced at the development that had taken place. Although he knew that Zabuza lived, and that the Hunter Nin was an accomplice, he still feared, not for himself, but for his students. He understands that both Sasuke and Sakura had gotten strong with the tree climbing exercise, however, he is unsure if it will match up to the Hunter Nin's abilities. From what he had seen, the hunter was stronger than Zabuza. The mist had concealed so much. Will Sasuke and Sakura be able to detect the enemies? Kakashi worried. A good attack would be a surprise attack, and it seems that Zabuza and his accomplice is planning just for that. Sakura stood on before Tazuna, tensed. Although she had managed and received some extra training from Kakashi-sensei, she cannot help but feel anxious. It is no secret that she was the weakest among her team. Sasuke was the graduating #1 rookie and Naruto was Konohagakure's loudest and most surprising idiot, ninja. Meanwhile, Sakura was just an average kunoichi. Yet, she had confidence, no matter how small it was, she wanted to get stronger, she wanted to be stronger, she is a kunoichi and she will be a proud one. Sakura's change on outlook of life did not go unnoticed, especially not with the air of a true kunoichi that she now gives off. Kakashi made a mental note that if his students made it out of this fight safely, losing or winning, he would nominate his team for the Chunin exam. Haku stared at the opponents in front of him. Naruto was missing. Looking around, Haku's heart sank a bit. Despite his inability to let go of his dream and hope, the truth now stands right before him, in the absence of Naruto. You are a tool, and there is no way out. Killing is your job. Haku slowly let his own heart go numb. Now, there is no place for second-guessing. Zabuza-sama needs him to do his job. Haku needs to fight and kill for his master. So it seems that we meet again. Zabuza grinned at the Kakashi. Your student seems frightened. He is shaking already. Haku turned his attention to the shaking boy that Zabuza-sama pointed out. No, Haku thought as Zabuza's water clones advanced toward the group, that boy isn't shaking out of fear, he is shaking out of excitement. I'm not shaking because I'm afraid, I'm shaking because I'm excited. Sasuke smirked, confirming Haku's deduction, taking down the water clones. Haku tensed. Both of them, the girl and the boy, they had gotten stronger. I should watch out for the both of them, especially the black-haired one. Zabuza looked slightly impressed. Haku, he laughed, look like you have someone to play with? Haku nodded. It would seem so. Both opponents came forward, facing each other. Through the holes of his mask, Haku stared coldly at Sasuke. I don't suppose you would forfeit? Sasuke sprained forth, fist aiming for Haku. Thought not. Haku jumped upwards to dodge, and rained down his needles. But his opponent had long disappeared from the spot, as if Sasuke had anticipated the action. Haku narrowed his eyes as he felt a presence appear from his left. Defending himself with his needle, Haku intercepted the attack. Metal clashed. Sasuke growled at the interception, and with as swift motion, he twisted his body to the right, raising his leg for a kick, hitting Haku square in the chest, sending him flying. Haku, Zabuza frowned. Still being soft? He inquired. Haku stood up shakily. Sorry, Zabuza-sama. Then stop being so easy on him. Haku nodded. I understood. Sasuke glared. Easy? His opponent was being easy on him? Well, then he would just have to get his opponent to start taking him seriously. Haku walked towards Sasuke again. You sure you won't forfeit? No, Sasuke answered coldly. Not wasting time to reply his acknowledgement, Haku attacked, swing his needles once more. Sasuke jumped away, Haku followed, landing on a small puddle of water. Metal clashed once again, halting both parties. Haku smirked under his mask, an advantage. With one hand he started to make signals. Sasuke's eyes widened as did Kakashi. What? He can make signals with only one hand? Without even another warning, needles sprang up from the puddle, many hit its target. Sasuke fell back. That is one of Haku's specialties. Zabuza stated smugly. Not wanting his student to chew off more than he can swallow, Kakashi prepared to interfere. If that is one of his specialties, I don't want to find out what are his others. Sasuke can't handle this guy. As if knowing what Kakashi was thinking, Zabuza blocked the copycat ninja's way. Your fight is with me, Kakashi. Kakashi glared. Kakashi thought, blocking Zabuza's descending sword. Meanwhile, not far off the bridge, a flash of orange was jumping from tree to tree, closing in on the battlefield. Sasuke hissed at his injuries. Diamen, it seems like he had underestimated his opponent. Unwilling to give up and swallow his pride, Sasuke got ready to release a batch of shuriken. However, before he could even draw the shurikens out, Haku had already started on a string of hand symbols. Haku never thought he would have to use such thing, but he wanted to end this fight soon. The silver-haired ninja seemed strong, and Haku wanted to help Zabuza-sama as much as he can. Performing his bloodline was the last thing he wanted, but for Zabuza-sama, he would have to. Finishing his last signal, Haku shouted, Makyu Hyushu, and watched as the water puddle beneath him quiver. Ice mirrors erupted from the puddle, imprisoning Sasuke within. Sakura watched on the sideline in horrors. Sasuke. It was too late. Sasuke was not prepared for such assault. Within the ice prison he was unable to get out. Haku entered the mirrors, becoming one of its reflections. Needles rained from every direction. Sasuke glared. What is this technique? A bloodline? Dodging every needle that rained at him, Sasuke shouted out his most powerful technique, Gokakyu no Jutsu. A giant fireball flew at the mirrors. Despite what scientific logic might have said, Sasuke's grand fireball did not metal the ice mirrors, or even leave a scratch for that matter. Instead, it flickered around at edges, surrounding the mirror completely, before dying out into nothingness. Outside, Sakura saw the event in awe and fear. Awe at such powerful display, and fear for that her precious Sasuke-kun is in trouble. Sakura was torn. Her duty prevents her from leaving her sight, yet her teammate is in trouble. Tazuna noticed the poor girl's turmoil, and gently pushed Sakura toward the ice prison. Got ahead, help your friend, he smiled understandingly. Sakura hesitated, but dash. I'll be fine, he ensured. Nodding her gratitude, Sakura grabbed out her holster and threw it directly at the mirror which Haku reside in. From the corner of his eyes, Haku saw the incoming attack, and glided out of his mirror to grab the weapon. Without another beat in time, Haku once again retrieved back into the safety of his mirrors. Sakura let out a gasp of terror. It seems like nothing would work as long as Haku have his mirrors up. Inside, Sasuke panted heavily. No matter how fast he attacks, Haku is always faster, dodging and gliding from one mirror to another, all the while raining down needles. Nothing would break the mirror either, and an outside attack was also useless as Sakura had demonstrated. Sasuke don't know how much longer can he dodge. Offensive was clearly not working, and defensive would only get him nowhere. Sasuke was in a dilemma. Kakashi hissed in frustration as he blocked Zabuza's latest attack. With each moment he is fighting Zabuza, his student is losing in those ice-encased mirrors. It seems like this will be the end of your students, Zabuza taunted. Truth to be told, Zabuza was unsure at first about letting Haku fight alone. But now, Zabuza is happy. He is happy that Haku is doing so well and that he, himself can fight such a strong opponent. And more so, Zabuza is happy that the blonde kid wasn't there. He wasn't sure why he felt so uneasy around the kid, but from the last encounter with the kid, he was certain that the blonde was trouble. Jumping away from the swing of the sword, Kakashi stated firmly, despite the building anxiety, "Don't underestimate my students. Sasuke, who is fighting your friend over there, is this graduating year's #1 rookie and the last member of the Uchiha clan. Sakura is the smartest girl in her class, and Naruto," Kakashi grinned, "Naruto is Konoha's most surprising ninja." Almost as if it was a signal for Naruto's entrance, the hero of the story appeared. "The hero is here," Naruto shouted, jumping out from the smoke. Zabuza snapped his head toward the appearing menace. "It's that brat." Not forgetting the encounter, and how troublesome the blonde can be, Zabuza, taking everyone's temporarily surprised state, and threw his shurikens at Naruto. Clearly unprepared, Naruto could only watch as the weapons approached him. Unknown to the onviewers, Naruto was ready to perform Kourimi no Jutsu, but was denied the chance as Haku's needles intercepted the attack. "What is the meaning of this, Haku?" Zabuza glowed slightly. Haku glided out of his mirrors. "Please, Zabuza-sama, let me take care of him." Never one to see Haku requesting wanting to fight someone bad enough to intercept one of his own attack, Zabuza hesitatively agreed. Turning back to the blonde, Haku discovered that Naruto had sneaked into this mirror prison. What is Naruto-kun thinking? Inside the prison, Naruto stood next to an exhausted Sasuke. "Are you all right, team?" Sasuke looked incredulity at the blonde. "Dope. What are you doing here?" "I'm here to help you, team." Naruto glared. "Inside." Sasuke snorted. "You're just more trouble." Naruto hissed a bit, and claimed haughtily, "We'll see about that. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." Several shadow clones appeared. "Let's take those mirrors down." "Naruto, wait." Sasuke cried out, "Don't." But it was too late. The shadow clones attacked, only to be repelled. As one shadow clone jumped upon the mirror in which Haku resided in, he whispered, "Hakuken, I need to knock Sasuke out. I have something important to discuss with you." Haku's eyes widened. What exactly is going on here? Although Naruto was now fighting in the opposite side of the field, Haku trusted his new friend. Giving Naruto the slightest of a nod, Haku jumped rapidly among the mirrors, aiming for the black-haired boy. Sasuke cursed. His opponent is taking things seriously now that Naruto had entered the battle. Dodging no longer seems to be an option. In circumstances like this, under pressure to dodge, protect a teammate, and take down the enemy, something happened. Something unexpected. For the first time, Sasuke was able to see his opponent's movement. His eyes were able to follow and detect his red. Sasuke had awoken his bloodline. Haku watched, astounded that an untrained fledgling was able to awaken his bloodline. But that does not stop Haku's attacks. He needed to knock the Uchiha down. Naruto frowned inwardly. Although he is happy for his teammate for awakening his bloodline, it puts a problem in Naruto's plan. Naruto had hoped that they were able to out Sasuke earlier in the battle, giving Haku and him enough time to devise a plan to occupy Zabuza and Kakashi-sensei long enough for his fox to bring the body. Now, however, it would take more effort to knock Sasuke out. Naruto just hoped that there is still enough time to stop Kakashi-sensei from using the Chidori. Throwing Haku a subdued look that said, "Attack me!" Naruto made himself the target, standing the center of the prison. Haku was confused by the change of instruction, but did as Naruto had requested. Throwing his needles straight at the waiting blonde, Haku prayed that Naruto-kun knows what he is doing. The red orbs followed the movements. Sasuke saw the direction of the needles. Unsure, not even thinking, Sasuke threw himself in front of Naruto. The needles pierced his body. Sasuke. Naruto faked disbelief. Why? How do I know, dope? Sasuke coughed. My body just moved on its own. Naruto cradled his teammate gently. I promise that I won't die until I kill him. That man, my brother. Sasuke grinned in pain, but promise me that you'll live. Naruto nodded. Regardless of acting, the speech still warmed Naruto's heart. It's good to know that at the moment in the past, Sasuke had considered him as a friend, a brother almost. Sasuke closed his eyes. His conciseness faded. Naruto laid the boy down softly on the ground. Rest, Sasuke-kun. Everything will be all right. Standing up, Naruto called Haku out. He's all right, you know, Haku stated. Naruto nodded. I know, but that's not the most important thing right now. Haku stared. What are you planning? I had sent one of my fox to kill Gato. He was going to double-cross you anyway. Naruto explained, my fox will bring the body here, along with your payment. Looking at the silent boy in front of him, Naruto continued. Without an employer, you have no reason to fight us. Take the money and go. Haku concurred slowly. We need to stall Kakashi-sensei and Zabuza though, Naruto added. I know that Zabuza won't win against Kakashi-sensei. We need to stall them long enough for my fox to bring the body. How? Haku asked. I don't know. Naruto confessed sheepishly. I haven't thought that far yet. Haku giggled at his friend's antic, before turning serious again. The mist, we could use it to our advantage. We can... Trade partners, Naruto interrupted. Haku looked startled. But Zabuza-sama is powerful. Are you sure you can take him on? We don't need to win, we just need to keep them busy enough, Naruto confirmed. You can trap Kakashi-sensei in this ice prison, while I'll just make sure to stay alive long. Enough. Exchanging nods, both boys parted their ways. The mirrors faded away as the boys darted out. Naruto just managed to intercept Zabuza's water dragon with an onslaught of shuriken, while Haku's mirror once again erupted around Kakashi, trapping him within. Both Jounin was surprised by the change in development, but wasn't given any time to think, as both boys rained down one attack after another upon them. They are buying for time, and it's time they will get. The brown fox, whose name was Nyx, was running as fast as he can toward the bridge. But man was this Gata heavy, and the big pouch of money was heavy as it is. Killing the fatty was easy, however, it was the mob that is now chasing after him hard to loose. It wasn't his fault that the fatty just had to be in a meeting with the mob when Nyx found him. Nyx was ordered to kill the fatty, and a quick bite at the neck. The fatty was dead. How was Nix supposed to know that the mob would get angry? But Nix isn't worried. Just as soon as he gets to Naruto-sama, he can go back to sleep in his warm den, away from the stupid, angry mob. Thus, the poor fox panted heavily as he continued to run toward the bridge. Just a little bit more now. Nix arrived just on time, as Kakashi broke free of the ice prison by using Chidori. Naruto, who had been holding just fine, allowed himself to be thrown across the bridge by Zabuza. "Nix!" Naruto shouted in glee. The fox yapped and throttled up to the blonde. Dumping the body and the pouch at Naruto's feet, Nix whimpered a bit, head pointed toward the approaching mob. Naruto nodded at the fox and thanked it for its hard work. "I'll handle it from now," he told Nix, and relieved the fox of its duty. Said the fox was more than happy to leave. And poof, Nix was gone. Kakashi, Zabuza, and Haku stared at Naruto, stunned. None of them knows how to take this turn of event. It was, surprisingly, Zabuza first to speak. "Kakashi," he informed, "it seems like I no longer have a reason to fight you." Kakashi nodded dumbly, alarmed at Naruto's interaction with the fox. Enraptured in their state of astonishment, Kakashi, Zabuza, and Haku failed to notice the mob. Although Naruto was aware, it still did not prepare the Kyubbi container for the many flying sharp thingies. To name all the types of weapon would take a while. Dodging and knocking many away, Naruto was still unable to get away unscratched. A flying blade sailed toward the occupied Zabuza, caused one loyal Haku to jump into the way. The blade hit Haku near the heart. The atmosphere of the air suddenly dropped several degrees. An intense bloodlust washed over the mob. Zabuza, the demon of the mist, clenched tightly at his tool. Knowing full well that Zabuza could take down the whole mob, but worried that he would be consumed by his emotions, Naruto immediately preformed the Kage Bunshin. Kakashi picked up Naruto's train of thought and contributed his own Kage Bunshin. The mob of samurais and mercenaries faltered a bit at the sight of the clones, but stood their grounds. Standing near the angry demon of the mist, Naruto hissed lowly, only to let Zabuza to hear, "I'll take care of this, but right now Haruin needs you the most. Stop his bleeding." Zabuza didn't argue, but did as Naruto had instructed and began to bandage the wound, hoping to stop the bleeding. No matter what Zabuza had told Haku about him being only a tool, Zabuza had truly cared for the child. "Do you really want to take us on?" Naruto shouted to the mob. "Yeah." "Do you?" a proud voice echoed behind Naruto. Everyone turned. There it was, Inari and the town, all were armed. A bow from Inari struck the ground. It was all it took to break down the mob's determination. The mob disbanded, each and every one of them ran in fear for their lives. "Cowards, all of them." Naruto smirked. "You know, I'm surprised a little brat like you can raise an army," he teased. Inari stuck his tongue out as the whole town cheered. It was a great day in the Wave Country's history, for it was the day that Gato was killed, never to terrorize the people again. It was the day in which the Great Bridge was finished, promising a new start for the Wave citizens. It was a day of great achievement. Naruto grinned. In the end, everything did turn out just fine. Sasuke recovered nicely, as he was never in real danger anyway. Although the brooding Uchiha was slightly angry and disappointed to miss out on conclusion of the battle, Naruto made sure Sasuke was given the censored version of what happened. And since the mist had covered the battlefield, Sakura was unable to catch most of the events that took place. Haku recovered without much of a problem, and Zabuza and Haku had once again left in hiding form the hunters. But with the money that they had received from their late employer, Naruto had no doubt that those two would be fine. More so, in order to keep contact with his friend, Naruto had given a small white fox kit to Haku. There is now a way that Naruto is going to lose his new friend over long-distance traveling, especially since he had lost him the last time. The mission was overall a success in more than one way. Depart the Wave and the Great Naruto Bridge, Team 7 was contempt. "Naruto, that reminds me," Kakashi asked, "how did you get a fox summoned?" Kakashi closed in as Sakura and Sasuke walked far ahead, unnoticed. "Nanani? What? What fox summon?" Naruto laughed nervously. "They aren't summoning, the foxes just likes me," he lied. "I've been friends with Nick since I was a kid." He just doesn't like to come out a lot, though. Eyeing Naruto with suspicion, Kakashi didn't say anything else. Mentally, Kakashi noted to talk to Hokage-sama about this. Now where was he in Ika paradise? There is no denying that something about Naruto had changed. Ever since weeks ago, the orange blinding blonde had seemed different, more aware, intelligent, and dangerous. Kakashi no longer can ignore the signs, especially after the battle in the Wave Country. Something is different about Naruto, strange and suspicious. Kakashi walked toward the Hokage Tower absent-mindedly. Even with his orange book in hand, he could not help but let his mind sway. Images of the previous mission kept flashing through Kakashi's head. He was sure that he had saw Naruto's eyes turned red. Kakashi was also sure that he had felt the fox's chakra. But still, even with these facts, the loudmouth blonde did not appear to be under the influence of the fox. Kakashi sighed into his book. Could Naruto be acting? Could it be that the fox really did take over? Kakashi ordered his mind. Don't think of such thing. The fourth seal is not faulted. Kakashi could not bring himself to discredit and question his sensei's capability. The doubts lingered. Entering the tower, Kakashi prayed that everything would be okay, hoping that perhaps Hokage-sama have an answer, or to the very least assurance that Naruto is not affected by the fox. Hokage-sama, the Kyubbi ninja greeted. Kakashi, the third, nodded in greetings. You look troubled. Ah, Kakashi acknowledged. I don't know if it's something to worry about or not, but it's about Naruto. Hokage raised a brow. Oh? What about him? Worry flickered slightly across Kakashi's eyes before straightening his back. Well, Hokage-sama, during the wave mission, I felt the fox, and Naruto, his skills was impressive compared to his academy reports. Is there something I should worry about? Something I should know about Naruto? Fingering his white beard, the third looked as if he was in deep thoughts, taking all that Kakashi had said into consideration. Several of moments of silence passed, as Kakashi fidgeting nervously. Does that mean there is something wrong with the seal? Kakashi prays not. Finally, Hokage stood up from his chair and regarded Kakashi seriously. I believe that there is something you needed to know. Kakashi leaned forward with interest. Naruto, Hokage-sama stared. He knows about Kyubbi. He what? Kakashi couldn't stop himself from shouting. What do you mean he knows about the fox? Hokage sighed. He had anticipated Kakashi's reaction. He knows. Kakashi, remember the stolen scroll incident? The third asked the Kyubbi ninja before the silver-haired man could even demeaned. How? Hi. Kakashi nodded. A small flicker of confusion flashed across his hidden face. But what does that have to do with Naruto? Mizuki had told Naruto that night, about the fox, Hokage stated sadly. I am afraid that Naruto had took the news quite hard and wanted to improve himself, a motivation to become stronger, better, and well, prove everyone that he is not a demon. Kakashi nodded at every word his leader had told him. So it wasn't because of the seal, Naruto just wanted to prove himself. Satisfied with the answer, Kakashi gave his report on the B-ranked mission and walked out of the tower. His doubts washed away and his heavy heart lightened. Sakura by all means wanted Sasuke as her boyfriend. Sure, she was just 12 at age, what does she knows about love? But that doesn't discourage her at all. She likes Sasuke, a crush at best, and so what if Sasuke barely even notice her? It makes no difference. She is a girl who knows what she wants, and what she wants is Sasuke. However, that was before the mission. All of these daytime fantasies seem so unrealistic now, so far away, something that she can't not see happening. Sasuke sweeping off her feet like a knight in shining armor. It all had seemed so, pathetic. Sakura didn't know what had brought this new perspective on. Was it due to the acknowledgement that Naruto was someone else besides an annoyance? After all, annoying people are stupid, and from the speech Naruto had gave to Sasuke, he was far from it. Was it due to the extra, special training Sakura had undergone as a reward for finishing her exercise first? Was it due to the realization that she was a ninja and as a ninja she could kick butt? Perhaps, perhaps not. At some level it was due to all of them, at another. The harsh words echoed in her mind. Flashback. Sakura POV. Kakashi-sensei stood under a giant tree with an air of eerie silence. I never had seen sensei so serious before. I had always thought that he was a pervert, seeing as how he always read that book of his. However, now he just stood there. I have to admit, I'm nervous. I was so used to yelling at him and telling him that he is late and whatnot that I find myself shook from seeing him so calm. Shaking aside my anxiety, I approached sensei. "Are we going to start, sensei?" I asked. My question echoed loudly into the forest. For the first time, I wonder if I am really a loud person. I had always considered myself soft-spoken, but from that echo, Kakashi-sensei turned towards me for the first time since I had followed him off for the special training. "Sensei?" I asked again when he didn't say a thing. Finally, after what seems like an eternity, Kakashi-sensei opened his mouth to speak. What he said to me was something I will never forget. "Why bother?" "And Nanny?" I stared, slightly taken back by his question. "Why bother, Sakura?" he repeated. "Why bother to train? It would be a waste of time for both you and I." I was stunned. "What do you mean, sensei?" I almost cried. "You heard me, Sakura," he said. "There is no need for me to train you. In case you haven't realized, Sakura, you are not cut out to be a Kohana's ninja." Looking right into Sakura's eyes, Kakashi stated firmly, almost accusingly, "All you care about is boys, Sakura. As a ninja you should have focused more on your training, instead of chasing after Sasuke. But then again, you are not fit as a ninja now, are you? You are useless, Sakura, and seeing on how you let your love interest dominate your life, there are no need to train you. In fact, there is no need for you to be a kunoichi of Konoha either. If you are not serious about this, then after this mission I want you to go home." After that, Kakashi-sensei left. With a flash of yellow and orange, sensei disappeared. End of Sakura's POV. And a flashback. After that, the pink-haired kunoichi had taken her duty seriously. She had trained as hard as she could. Although Sakura had yet to give up completely on Sasuke-kun. In time, perhaps, one day she will. Walking down the streets of Konoha, Sakura grinned happily to herself. It was a beautiful day, and she had just finished her training for the morning. As Sakura turned on the corner of the street, a small object or person blurred in front of her, appearing out of nowhere. Reflexively, Sakura jumped back a bit from the fast-approaching thing. Her hands shot out and without a moment of delay, Sakura caught the blur by the collar. "Hey! What gives?" the blur shouted. Sakura looked down. It was a small boy. "Let me down." The boy struggled in Sakura's iron grip. "Let go." Looking down, Sakura glared at the rude child. "Watch it!" Sakura shouted at the little boy. The boy stopped struggling and glared back. "You are the one who should watch where you are going," the boy sneered. Sakura's eyebrows twitched. What a rude little brat. Just as she was about to teach the rude boy a lesson, a familiar voice interrupted her, cutting into the air. "That's enough, Kanomaru," the dark figure smirked. "I think you should just apologize, it'll save you a lot of pain." Sakura turned to face Naruto, or who she thought was Naruto. "Naruto!" Sakura whispered in awe. The figure before her was dressed in black? Or was it just a really dark form of blue? The voice was calm, quiet but firm. Could it really be her teammate? "Sakura-san," Naruto gave her a fox grin, and motioned her to let Konohamaru go. Wordlessly, still in shock, Sakura let the grandson of Hokahama go. Konohamaru jumped down and stuck his tongue out at the pink-headed girl and ran to hide behind Naruto. "Sorry about that." Naruto threw Konohamaru a warning glare at the hiding boy. "We were playing ninja and he must have not seen you." The only answer Sakura gave was a curious look at the face. Playing ninja. Nodding, Sakura broke her shock stance. Looking over her once orange-loving teammate, Sakura voiced her confusion. "So, Naruto, what's with the black?" Naruto looked at himself and shrugged casually. "All my clothes are dirty." Sakura took the answer but was skeptical. Deciding to change the topic, Sakura smiled brightly at the three kids behind Naruto and introduced herself. "Hi, I'm Naruto's teammate, Sakura." Konohamaru suddenly exclaimed, "Are you Naruto Niken's?" Konohamaru trailed off as he held out his pinky in the indication of girlfriend. Sakura blushed a deep red, while Naruto laughed. No, no, Naruto said in between laughter. We are not like that. We are just friends, the blonde assured the kids. Konomaru looked slightly disappointed before brightening up and proclaimed in a loud. Yeah, I knew that. I mean, Naruto wouldn't like flat-chest girls. I mean, she's not even pretty-looking or nice. In the back of his mind, Naruto could almost see Kyubbi rolling on the ground with tears, the fox's laughter ringing in his ears. However, Sakura did not find the comment very funny. And the embarrassed red that was once on her face turned an angry crimson. Konomaru, sensing a raise in killer intentions, turned slowly, almost in fear, to see the growing pink demon behind her. With a yap, Konomaru took off, with Sakura hot behind his trail. Konomaru wasn't looking at where he was running. It didn't matter, as long as he don't get caught by the scare-mad lady behind him, he didn't care if he run out of Konoha. So naturally, when one is not watching where one is going, you tend to crash into something, or someone in Konomaru's case. Konomaru tried to stop himself on time, however, the collision was unavoidable. Kankuro had just entered the Leaf Village when he was suddenly slammed into. Growling in annoyance, Kankuro lifted the brat who had collided with him roughly. Watch where you are going, brat, he hissed. The small boy gulped as Kankuro's painted face became visible. Kankuro smirked. Oh, the joy of having a painted face. Well, aren't you going to apologize? Kankuro taunted. The boy shivered at Kankuro, and even more so when Kankuro purposely shone his sharp teeth. Let him go. Sakura was chasing Konomaru when the poor boy crashed into a purple-painted foreigner. It was Konomaru's second crash of the day. At first, Sakura didn't seem very worried about the crash. After all, the boy deserved it for calling her ugly. However, when the foreigner had lifted Konomaru roughly, Sakura's inner being began to shout. Sure, Sakura might not like the kid very much for his comment, however, he was still a citizen of Konoha, and no one mess with her people. Let him go! Sakura shouted at the foreigner. The painted nin sneered at Sakura rudely. Let him go, he mimicked. Are all you leaf nins so pathetic? Sakura growled as inner Sakura waved, fight, 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 banners in her head. A blonde girl beside the painted nin glanced behind Sakura nervously before snapping at her partner. Kankuro, we are not here to cause any trouble. Kankuro humphed at the blonde girl. I'm not causing any trouble, I just want to teach these weaklings some lessons, Temari. Weakling! Inner Sakura screeched in outrage. Who is he calling a weakling? Needless to say, Sakura was deeply angered. Kankuro didn't even see it coming. Sakura had struck, punching Kankuro right in the face. The punch was powerful, no doubt, for Kankuro flew back a good 3 feet. Konomaru was dropped at Sakura's feet. There was a long moment of silence as everyone gawked at the enraged Sakura. Naruto was impressed, never in his wildest dream that Sakura would improve so much. He had hoped that Sakura had took his words to heart when he had pretended to be Kakashi-sensei and lectured the poor girl. Harshly lectured, mind you, however, that punch? It was powerful, extremely powerful. Naruto thought in disbelief. Meanwhile, Kyubbi snickered in Naruto's head. You should be careful not to get her angry at you then. Absent-mindedly, Naruto nodded mentally in agreement. He would not want to be at the end of those punches. Naruto slighted a bit as he felt eyes staring at him. Looking around, Naruto had hoped to see Gaara hiding somewhere in the trees. However, when Naruto failed to find Gaara, his attention shifted to the other set of eyes he felt staring. To his surprise, it was Temari's eyes. Looking right into Temari's eyes, Naruto was shocked to see fear. Was it always there? Even the first time we met? Naruto asked. Kyubbi shrugged. I don't know, but it's almost like she knows that there is something more inside of you. Perhaps she could recognize my presence? Naruto narrowed his eyes dangerously. Perhaps, but if that's so, we will need to keep closer eyes on her. I don't want anyone to know about you just yet. Intensifying his glare, Naruto sent the poor shaken girl a frightening look before turning his attention to the recovered Kankuro. Kankuro winced lightly as he climbs to his feet. The punch had done its job. He could feel a bruise forming. Hissing darkly, Kankuro stepped forward toward Sakura, intending to give her a piece of his mind. Just as Kankuro was about to throw his own punch, a flying rock interrupted his advancement. In shock and from the impact of the small pebble, Kankuro grabbed his wrist in pain. Sakura looked up. In the tree was Sasuke. Sasuke! Sakura shouted in joy. Sakura couldn't help but think that she knew her Sasuke would save the day. Team! Kankuro growled. Who do you think you are? Yet before Kankuro could say another word, the wind swirled, and Gaara had appeared. Stop, Kankuro, the red-haired boy ordered coldly. You are making a fool out of yourself and our village. If there is another word out of you, I will kill you. At this Kankuro paled. Family or not? Sasuke looked beside him in shock, as did Sakura. They had not sensed Gaara at all. Teleporting down to the ground, Gaara glared at his siblings and commanded, "Let's go." The other two Sannins followed. Wait! Sakura screamed after them. Gaara halted but didn't turn. It was Kankuro who sneered a "what is it?" at Sakura. You are not from our village. Do you have permission to be here? She asked. Temari snorted. You are rookies, aren't you? Don't you know anything? Sasuke frowned as Sakura looked flustered. You are here for the Chunin exam, aren't you? Naruto spoke for the first time. It was a statement. Temari nodded slowly and looked away. Something about Naruto disturbs her. Sasuke and Sakura stared at Naruto, surprised. He had been so quiet that they forgot he was even there. Well, then, Naruto grinned mischievously. See you around, Gaara. Gaara turned around in slight surprise. He didn't remember to give his name. Who are you? The sand demon holder asked. Naruto's grin widens. A friend of Shikaku. The Sannin's eyes widen in astonishment. Two pairs were in fear. Temari had never seen anything like it. The feeling, the warning. Temari shivered slightly as Naruto's eyes flashed red when he stared at her. As a fan user, Temari had learned to communicate with the air, wind. And from the pieces of warning the air had gave her, Temari knew that the blonde boy was more dangerous than he looked. However, the scariest thing was, the boy was considered more dangerous than Gaara. Temari could not help herself as she let some of her fear reflect in her eyes. However, now after that sentence, Temari's fear was confirmed. The boy was dangerous, and if he is to be an enemy, forget about the plan. She feared that they wouldn't even make it out alive, fighting or retreating. I hope we met again in the exam, Naruto continued as he walked away, motioning Konohamaru and gang to follow. Gaara stared after the departing Naruto. I hope so too. And then he too departed. All this while, Sakura and Sasuke stood there in confusion. What is going on? Questions were running wild inside both ninjas' head. Who are those people? No, who is Shikaku? And what exam? Unknown to them, the real fun was just about to begin, and they too were just nominated by their sensei for the exam. The possibility and impossibility are irrelevant, for nothing is impossible and anything is possible. It was never the question of what if. Instead, it is the question of when and how. Dreams do not come true simply because we wish it to be. We make our reality ours by our own two hands. Sasuke glared hotly at his reflection in the mirrors. The confused and frustrated look doesn't suit him, he declared. Yet despite what look Sasuke thinks suits him or not, the emotion stayed upon his pale face. A growl threatens to erupt from his throat when the emotions refuse to fade. Eyes flashing slightly red, as a side effect of awakening his bloodline, Sasuke sladed off to the far corner of his room, all the while a single name rings in his head, Naruto. A friend of Shikaku? Sasuke snorted. It was just like Naruto to answer with such a useless response. It basically tell the questioner close to nothing. However, at the same time, it was so unlike Naruto to elusive the red-haired nin of his question. In fact, since when can Naruto elude anyone? Naruto, Sasuke concluded, like an enigma, wrapped in riddles and boxed in a complex puzzle. Sasuke had taken a step forward into solving Naruto's cryptic puzzle, but was only to be pushed back 3 steps from the hidden riddles. Flopping carelessly onto his bed, Sasuke buried his face into his pillow and let out an angry muffled scream. A friend of Shikaku? Just who is Shikaku? And how does Naruto knows about Gaara and the Chunin exam? Claiming his anger and rapid heartbeat, Sasuke just hoped that his lazy sensei would nominate him for the exam. Kakashi stood before Hokage-sama with confidence and pride. I nominate Team 7, he stated casually and calmly. Are you sure? The third asked. They are just rookies. Iruka threw in his 2-cent worth, unable to stop himself, worried that his students would get injured. Guy nodded in agreement with Iruka. That's right, my eternal rival. As much as I admire your students' excellent youth, they are just rookies. I didn't even nominate my team until this year. Guy cried, doing the nice guy pose. Kakashi stared wordlessly at the third, completely obvious to Guy's proclamation. I'm certain they are capable. He stated blankly as Guy sobbed of how cool and hit his rival is in the background. There is no doubt in Kakashi's mind. His team is more than qualified and ready for the Chunin exam. The third nodded at Kakashi's decision despite one overly motherly Iruka. If you are confident, third concluded with a finally puff of his pipe. Please go inform your teams. Naruto was taking a risk and he knows it. So many things have changed since the last time around. But, Sakura gasped, are you sure we are ready, sensei? Kakashi shrugged nonchalantly and poofed off. The team stared at the now empty space in shock. What just happened? Naruto asked slowly. This had never happened before. What is he playing at? Naruto questioned. Perhaps to see all of our reactions, Kyubbi tried to suggest it, but could not sense the one-eyed Cyclopes anywhere. Shrugging, not really caring if Kakashi was there or, Naruto began to walk off, muttering something about training and ramen for all of his teammates to hear. It had been months of thinking, debating, and planning. It took a lot of weighing the pros and cons before Naruto had decided to take a risk. They will find out sooner or later, Naruto had concluded. It doesn't help the fact that his team has already become suspicious of him. It was a difficult decision. In fact, even with one single mistake there would be hell to pay. Taking a deep breath in, Naruto went to find Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi was surprised when he spotted the blonde-haired boy approaching him. Looking up from his book, Kakashi asked in mild curiosity, "Is there something you need?" Naruto took a sharp inhale before grinning nervously. Well, sensei, you see, there is something I think I needed to tell you. Kakashi swiftly put his Ika away and stared expectantly at the boy in front of him. Yes. I think we should discuss this to the fullest detail in front of the third, Naruto replied calmly. Narrowing his eyes, Kakashi hissed instead, Who are you and what have you done with Naruto? Naruto snorted. He had figured as much. Kakashi-sensei would have overreacted. Nothing, the foxholder responded. I am Naruto. Just a boy no one really knows. Kakashi didn't comment, but agreed to Naruto's request nonetheless. The walk to Hokage's tower was painful quiet. Constantly threw suspicious look toward Naruto for every second or so. When the both ninja arrived at the tower, Naruto was the first to enter Hokage's office. Ah, Naruto, the third grinned a bit curiously, coming for a visit? Not a social one, Naruto replied casually, business that's all. Kakashi stood tense at the response. He doesn't like it when something take him by surprise. Kakashi wasn't an umbu for nothing, nothing could have gotten past him, nothing could have taken him from surprise. However, it seemed his student just did. Well, what business? Third asked calm, although unsure how to take Naruto's new behavior as. Naruto walked around the room before glancing at the two confused men. Perhaps, we will discuss it when there are only the three of us, Naruto drawled out slowly. The third merely nodded, hiding his surprise at Naruto's ability to sense the hidden shadows of this office, and motioned the hidden bodyguards away. Now, will you state your business already? Kakashi glared, unable to contain his anxiety. Naruto laughed. I figure as much. Figure what? Kakashi glared harder. You are not as calm as you portray, sensei. Naruto grinned cheekily before turning to a serious demeanor. I am certain that you are aware of my ceiling? Naruto questioned both men, when received no reply. He continued, however, what you are unaware of is that the ceiling also allows Kyubbi to communicate with his host. At this, One Kakashi Hatake was left standing with an expression that we could only assume to be a mouth-gapping goldfish due to that accursed mask of his. And what you are implying is that you have full access to Kyubbi? The third questioned apprehensively. Naruto shook his head. No, I said I can communicate with the fox. I never said I could access to Kyubbi. So, a recovering Kakashi hissed, what have the fox been telling you? Nothing much of the importance. Naruto joked in a serious tone, mostly about how he wishes he could wipe out this pathetic town or that there is a smelly snake heading this way. The third raised a brow toward the snake part, while Kakashi tightened his fist at the reaction of destruction of the leaves part. The fox should be destroyed instead, Kakashi growled. His eyes were on Naruto's stomach where the ceiling was. Is the fox's fault that we lost so many lives? Naruto shrugged. Yeah, but from what I heard, it's the snake's fault that he lost his kits. What do you mean by that? Nothing that you should be concerned with, Naruto snapped. Now, our business. The blonde began, changing the topic. You were probably wondering about my new behaviors these days. Seeing that Naruto will not explain his earlier comment any further, both men nodded toward Naruto's inquiry. Yes, we are aware of your sudden change. Naruto grinned. Good. Now, as I was saying, I am able to communicate with Kyubbi. From what the fox and I had gathered, we are beginning to fuse as one. Before anyone could interrupt, Naruto injected. However, due to the ceiling and the fact that I am human, the fox and I cannot completely become one, and therefore, while he lives in me, I will only be able to inherit some small traits from him. What traits? Came the demanded question. Heighten in senses, more instinctive fighting style, higher ability to perform jutsus and the fox elemental attacks, and of course a more higher level of intelligence. Naruto answered. In the back of Naruto's mind, Kyubbi was rolling with laughter. Where do you come up with these lies, kid? They are not completely lies, Kyubbi. After all, I do look more foxish when your power was poured out to me. My sense was heightened because of you. And you are going to teach me all those elemental attacks that you promised 2 weeks back. Right, not lies, just a twisted form of truth. Meanwhile, the world outside Naruto's mind was in shock and slight fear. I see, Hokage chose his words carefully. So, Naruto, what are you going to do about this village? Naruto blinked twice before he caught on the meaning. Nothing. I don't intend to do anything to it. I will remain in this village and protect it as I have promised in the past, and in time, perhaps I will travel the counties. The third nodded and smiled brightly at Naruto's response. Well then, is that all you have to tell us? Naruto nodded. Yes, I hope that by telling you this, you will come to understand why I am behaving so. My mature in intelligence is rather sudden, but I want to ensure that I am still me, and that there is no need to fear me. I will try to keep my development a secret. The third puffed his pipe uneasily. That might be a good idea. And however do you think we could speak to Kyubbi? You seek confirmation? Naruto smirked. Well, then, I would get him to speak to you directly. However, that would send the village in chaos if his chakra is felt. It would be a problem, wouldn't it? We don't know if you are not just under the influence of Kyubbi, Kakashi argued. Perhaps, the blonde mused, but question this. If that is true, what's stopping me from destroying this village? The two adults fall in silence, and Naruto took the opportunity to depart. By the way, Uji-san, Naruto shouted to the silent Hokage, the fox just want to inform you that there are some snakes in our village. It wouldn't do if the big snake crosses paths with him. Furball here still have some bones to pick with the team. No, it wouldn't do at all. Kyubbi let out a devious smirk. I'll shredding that snake and make him my meal. Kakashi Hatake doesn't know how to handle his current position. In fact, he was completely at lost. Was the boy lying? Under the influence of the fox? Naruto had admitted to communicating with the beast. The demon could have manipulated the boy. Nevertheless, Naruto's question was correct. If he was truly under the influence of the fox, why haven't Naruto destroyed the village yet? The Hokage seemed to trust Naruto implicitly, and instead, as of now, the third looked even thoughtful at the situation, and not a bit of worry. Are you sure it's a good idea to let him leave like this? Especially now that he can communicate with the fox? Kakashi asked worried. I think Naruto can be trusted. Despite that he can talk to Kyubbi now, it doesn't change who Naruto is. Third smiled wistfully. Naruto is a good child who is seeking the attention and affection that he is not given of. Perhaps by communicating with Kyubbi, Naruto won't be so lonely anymore, and is maturing because of this. Putting down the pipe, the third looked directly at Kakashi. However, there is something that Naruto said concerns me. What is it? He mentioned a snake, and as you know, only 2 persons could have summoned snakes. You don't think he meant, how does he even know about, but why would Kyubbi have anything to do with this? Kakashi slurred. The third sighed and looked out the window. I'm not sure myself. I could only guess that whatever the reason Kyubbi attacked our village, my old student have something to do with it. Sasuke was heading toward his favorite training ground when he was spotted by one pink-haired girl. For reasons unformatted to Sasuke, it seemed that even being the number 1 rookie of his year, he just seemed unable to escape the clutches of one obsessed fangirl. Let go of me. Sasuke growled at the clinging girl beside him. Sakura just smiled sweetly in return and tightened her hold. But Sasuke, I haven't seen you lately. You just saw me this morning, yapped the poor boy. True, but I got something to tell you. And with that Sakura went, poof. In her place instead stood Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi-sensei. Yo, greeted the sheepish ninja. Sasuke glared. If that was a joke, it's not funny. Ah, well, don't be so mad now. Kakashi grinned even wider underneath his mask. What do you want, sensei? Asked one annoyed Sasuke. Kakashi scratched his head nervously before explaining himself, rehearsing what he had as ordered by Hokusama. As you know, Naruto had been a bit different lately, Kakashi started, and well, he is going through a hard time, hitting people. How does that to you like it is making you all brooding and all? Sasuke threw a hot glare at his teacher. And so, I want you to be nice to him and try to look out for him. Why should I care for that dope? Sasuke snorted. Now, Kakashi insisted. He is your teammate, and I want you two to try to get along. Looking away, Sasuke muttered, whatever, and left a pleased Kakashi behind. So, Naruto is maturing, Sasuke mused. Is that why he is so different lately? The unsaid question lingered in his head. Somehow, Sasuke doubted that it was the true cause of Naruto's behavior. Naruto stared at the clouds above with little interest. Well, that went well, he said to Kyubbi. I don't know, they don't seem to buy the story fully. That's okay, as long as they buy some of it, it's fine for now. Going to save the old man this time? Kyubbi asked his host. No, some things, no matter how much I wanted it to, should not be changed. Kyubbi nodded in agreement with his kit. However, when that time comes, will you be able to stop yourself from saving him? I don't know, Kyubbi, I don't know. Sakura fidgeted nervously as the tower in which the exam was taking place came to view. She was nervous, more so than ever. Despite the fact that she had agreed to enter, she could not help but feel scare at the possibility of holding her teammates back. Keeping a brave face, Sakura approached her teammates. It'll be fine, Sakura. Naruto smiled gently at her. It's not like they will try to weed out the weakest as we enter the building. Sakura gave him a half-feeble grin, not voicing that his words only drag her spirit down even more. Sasuke sighed at Naruto's tactlessness and decided to give his pink teammate his 2-cent worth. It'll be fine, just keep a cool head. Surprised by Sasuke's encouragement and sudden kindness, Sakura beamed. Thank you. Inside, inner Sakura grinned. You know, now that I think about it, Sasuke-kun have been acting a bit weird too lately. Must be a guy thing then? Without any further self-esteem and confident issues, Team 7 entered the building. It seems a bit odd, doesn't it? Naruto whispered to his teammates as they passed a large crowd of people, that the 300s are on the 2nd floor. Immediately, warning bells began to ring in Sakura's head. It's an illusion, she replied at once. That isn't the right room. Should we go to the next floor then? Naruto questioned in fake confusion. Sasuke resisted the urge to roll his eyes at such stupid question. Of course, dope. Hey, don't call me dope. Team. Naruto automatically fell back to his old routine. Sakura shook her head in defeat and dragged both boys toward the stairs. Seriously, she mutters all the while underneath her breath, unaware that one bushy brow was captured by her beauty. It seems that all the pieces are in place. Kyubbi took the time to whisper to Naruto. Then let the game begin, replied Naruto. We live in between worlds, the truths and the illusions, but beneath it all, we live in ignorance. We see what we want, we believe what we see, and we want what we believe. We live a complex life, where the simplicity is overpowered by our complications. In our eyes there is only black and white, but in our lives there lies many shades of grays. Something had changed. It was too small to be noticeable, but when you spent a good part of your childhood competing with someone, their change, no matter how small it is extremely apparent to you. It makes you uneasy, for you have not seen your rival for months now. You don't know what caused this change, you don't know how it would affect you, and you don't even know if this change could be a considerable threat. It's a very vexing position to be in, but that's where Ino currently found herself. Vexing position. The waiting room was buzzing with noises. Almost every village had sent their best for the Chunin exam. Ino paced back and forth in front of her team, fuming at the possibility that Sakura, her rival, had become stronger and depended without Ino's help. Will you stop pacing? Shikamaru groaned as he shifted slightly in his corner. I can't sleep with you stomping around. Ino snapped her head towards the lazy genin. What was that? She almost screeched. How can you even think of sleeping at a time like this? Grumbling, Shikamaru turned away from the raging blonde and sighed softly to himself, troublesome. Naruto fidgeted every so often as his team approaches the closed doors. He wasn't entirely prepared to face Kabuto yet. Naruto understood that the traitor was to be avoided and that the Mednin was on par with Kakashi. However, Naruto just couldn't see any alternative options of not meeting the sliver-haired nin at all. It was nearly impossible to avoid him completely, and those wretched info card of his. It would be a problem to his plans. Glancing at his teammates before him, Naruto was suddenly overcome with doubt. Was it a good idea to even attend this exam? Was he making a big mistake by coming here just to let the BSRD snake to mark Sasuke again? Naruto was no fool. He knew that he doesn't stand a chance against a Sannin. Still, have he not won the Hokage? But is it enough? Came the question, whispered by his doubts. Is it enough? It has to be, Naruto reasoned with himself. If it isn't, nothing is. Don't worry, Kit, Kyubbi smoothed the nervous child, I'll be here, and nothing can stand in the way of my tales. We will win, the blonde hissed in his mind, we have to win. But even determination could not smooth his doubts, not when he had experienced the aftermath the first time around. Sakura walked nervously among her teammates and trembled. No matter how many times or how loudly her inner self had shout words of encouragement to her, she just can't help but feel small compared to her two friends. Busy with pitying herself and admiring Sasuke, Sakura failed to notice the troubled look on Naruto's face. Time was running out. Kyubbi stared at the seal that attached itself to his bared doors. Already he could feel the power weakening. The power that always had been with him since the day of his seal. Fear poured into Kyubbi's heart. It's happening, the end and the beginning. Ouroboros. Time stops for no one. The movement of time is like a stream, constantly moving forward, from upstream to downstream, merging into rivers before entering the big ocean waves. Yet phenomenon of backward streams is not unheard of. In the far west, Mississippi of United States, such streams exist, or at least a piece of it. It was said that in 1812 an enormous volcano eruption had caused the mighty Mississippi River briefly to flow backward, carrying the water upstream for many miles. And while many would question the relevancy of streams with this tale of a brave, noble Jinchuriki who risked his life for his friends, the relevancy exists, for despite the backwards or forwards, time is always moving, fleeting, passing. So thus, when the unnatural phenomenon, the Pandora's box that Kyubbi no Yoko had opened, the shifting time pulled at the Buji's heart, sending a feeling of unsettle. Time is like a stream, and mixed with the forwarding waters, Naruto is a piece of the backward Mississippi River. Parallel worlds, alternative universe, merging timeline, none of these are possible or proven possible by the most rational and logical minds. The ideas were unthinkable and unlikely because time is always in a movement. The logic reasoning behind the impossibilities were too mechanical to explain, But even simple minds like Naruto had and will surely if slowly become aware of the unnatural situation that he and Kyubbi had created. At first, the implications were small, easy to ignore. But as the changes became swifter, rapid, and painful, the indications became more profound with each passing days. It is sudden and quick, like a spark of electricity that flashes from the metal doorknob to your fingertip. The feeling was intense, like the waves in the ocean during a bad storm. The crashes and splashes, one after another, reeling you back further out into sea and deep down under into the water below. Night after night, the transformation plagued Naruto's body and soul, the burning pain, the tearing of flesh, the rushing blood, and finally the feeling of his bones breaking and then mend by unexplained powers that is not of Kyubbi's, a strange blinding white mist reinforcing the changes. By the time of the Chunin exam, Naruto's body had unnoticeably been shattered and put back together. His eyes glowed in a strange hollow blue. The concept in theory was simple, the idea however was devastating. Was it evolution or just a simple natural continuation? We may not know, but the world is spinning out of control now. And Naruto was the only one that can see the rapid change. Every moment, flashes or glimpse of his future erupted without warnings. The images carries his death, his change, his soon-to-be future. Naruto was the only who is moving according to his own time, against the pacing water around him. Tim is like a moving stream, it moves accordingly and never stopping. Actions or crossroads will always occur, and depending on which path you chose, you may stray off in a different direction, branching and breaking into a different river. But it always merges into the big ocean. Boys. So in essence, the outcome, although altered, will always come to the same conclusion, the same big picture of death, destruction, betrayal. But whose death? Whose destruction? And whose betrayal? The door never looked so big, so intimidating, so frightful. For many behind the close wooden planes lie greatness, hope, and possibilities. To others, danger, failure, and death. The heart clenched and quickens in. Breathe. Naruto gasped softly to himself as Sasuke pushed open the doors. Breathe. The hallways brought forth a nostalgic longing, and while it was still bare and pale as ever, it doesn't matter to Naruto. For him, it was better than in shambles and torn, as it had been after Suna invasion. Breathe. Naruto hissed mentally, harsher and more urgent now as his chest continued to tighten. Breathe. Something is wrong, something was terribly wrong. Kyubbi continued to shift inside its cage. Already the most powerful demon can see the outcome. It was hard to say, of course, whether or not the fox liked the conclusion. However, the possibilities of the future, or at least the very general future, will without a doubt paint the world in flames. It hurts at some point, knowing that perhaps when, or more accurately if Naruto were to ever realize or discover the truth, the boy would be devastated. Naruto had tried so hard to save, but he didn't know as Kyubbi did that some things are not meant to be saved. The testing room was filled with hopefuls. Every village had sent their best, top genin with high performance scores and high mission success rates. All of them have the potentials of advancing and making a name for themselves, proving that they would still be alive after the exam. Shikamaru snorted quietly as he observed the Chunin candidates. What a pain! Glancing towards the back of the far left corner, he spies a batch of nins, 2 boys and 1 girl wearing a headband of the newly structured Otogekyure talking among themselves, while tugging at their bandages now and then. Shika, it seems like every team is dominated by males, troublesome. From afar, the sound nins it seems like they were rather absorbed in their conversation, but their wandering eyes towards the entrance told Shikamaru better. Are they waiting for comrades? Not knowing what sound can do, Shikamaru mentally categorized them into potential enemies list. Meanwhile, beside the sound genin stood a group of genin from Iwagakure. Shikamaru didn't even think twice before throwing the grass nin into avoid category. After the third great shinobi war, leaf, stone, and grass had been at each other's throat with a vengeance. In Shikamaru's mind, there is no need to lose your life just to please some bloodthirsty nin who seeks revenge, not when there would be no political repercussion for such actions during the exam. Meanwhile, Shikamaru made special note towards a single team of Suna genin, which seemed to give off a strong sense of irritation towards many people in the room, thus thickening the already tension-filled air. There is no doubt that the painted-face Suna genin and the blonde female Suna genin would be difficult to deal with if their paths were to ever cross. Their older age had already put them at an advantage in experience, and while the redhead looked about the same age as Shikamaru and the rest of the rookie nine, the Suna nin's haunting, empty emerald eyes gave Shikamaru more than enough reason to avoid him at all costs. Mental, Suna went into "do not approach, run for your life" category. A sudden flash of light stole Shikamaru's attention away as his eyes landed on a nin with silver hair and glasses. While the nin bore the leaf headband, the lack of immediate recognition from Shikamaru unease. It was unusual for Shikamaru to not recognize or even briefly heard of the glass-wearing nin. The strange genin had silver hair, for crying out loud. Surely that alone would give someone the reason for gossip. Not that Shikamaru gossip, mind you, but when you were dragged by your mother to grocery shopping, or when your father is always home talking about some event or mission regarding the shinobi world and being extremely forthcoming about shinobi's activities and the Chunin exam competitors, you do tend to hear a lot of interesting things. Information, after all, is important, no matter how trivial or silly it can be. Thus, when observed the way the silver-haired nin shuffle about around the room conversing with all genin, Shikamaru found it very unusual. Especially when the said nin had first entered room, he was completely alone. Don't teams always come in together? Shikamaru wondered. Either that nin was extremely insignificant to go unnoticed or highly talented to pass undetected. Shika shook his head a bit, before eyeing the suspicious genin into "keep an eye on" group. Suddenly the door swung open. Startled, the room immediately quieted down. Just as Shikamaru was about to see what the commotion was about, Ino, who was busy pacing before, let out a loud squeal. "Sasuke!" Sasuke bit back a groan when an ear-deafening screech greeted him just as he stepped into the room. And while Sasuke was used to the endless screeching from his millions of love-struck fangirls, he was not used to the sudden bear hugs or glomps that was often made, unfortunately, by Ino or Sakura. "How are you?" Ino gushed as she clings tightly onto his left arm. "I just know you would come." Sasuke sighed and tried to ignore the ranting girl beside him. Walking towards the gathering rookie nine, Sasuke gave a small nod of acknowledgement, but otherwise kept quiet. Naruto, meanwhile, did nothing but kept silent, adopting a place among Shikamaru and slightly towards the corner of the room. "Yo," he grinned towards the lazy nin before slouching down to rest his feet. "What's with you?" Shikamaru couldn't help be asked, as the normally energetic nin seemed very, unenergetic. Naruto shrugged. "Couldn't sleep last night, was too excited for today, but now I'm just dead tired," he replied gloomy. Naruto left out that the majority of his night was spent on creating plans for the battle to come. Shikamaru nodded sympathetically before he allowed himself to continue to observe the rest of the potential Chunins. Hinata stood beside her teammates in awe and fear. She was in awe that she was nominated for such important event, and fear because she felt as if she would bring her team down. The only tint of happiness and hope was the fact that her blonde crush was also among the chosen genins. Naruto, to her, was like a prince. His determination and refuse to give up had given Hinata great inspiration to become stronger. Yet, despite all the inspiration Naruto had provided, the shy girl couldn't help but still feel weak in resolution to become stronger. Hurting others had never been her strong suit. Thus when Kyubbi began to approach Naruto for a ritual jesting, Hinata, spying a slump and tired Naruto, intervened without a thought. "Kyubbi-kun," Hinata grabbed the dog boy's sleeves hastily. "PP, please don't bother Naruto-kun right now. He seems really tired right now. PP, please let him rest." The dog boy turned toward Hinata in surprise. Although Kyubbi knew of Hinata's crush, to say he had expected Hinata's reaction was a lie. He never seen Hinata stood up for Naruto PRD. The girl had been too shy to even say hello, so therefore anything to do with Naruto would result in a red-faced Hinata, who never uttered more than an "oh" or "Naruto-kun." So, while Kyubbi is a rash and bash person, he did however know when to stop and think. And think he did. Hinata, Kiba conclude, was a teammate, a shy and nice and very, very pretty teammate. Right? Get back on track. Hinata was a shy person who never make any request, ever. So, Kiba nodded to his reasoning. It wouldn't hurt to leave Naruto alone this once. Unknowingly, the decision of leaving Naruto alone had altered the passage of time yet once again. Without Kiba and Naruto's loud, and probably almost violent, confirmation, the meeting between the Rookie 9 and Kabuto was intervened. Because this time, Kabuto have no reason to approach the somber group. He has no excuses to calm them down. He has no distraction to allow him to present himself. And may it be Kami's will or destiny's gift, Kabuto shifted unease in his corner, not knowing how to approach the last, well, legally anyway, Uchiha. Slowly the room began to fill up until it became almost uncomfortably packed, jam-packed that is. Groaning in slight annoyance, Naruto got up from his spot and leaned onto the wall for more space. When is the examiner going to come? He grumbled out loud, mostly to himself. Just then, the loud door swung open with a loud ding. Black coat flashing, Ibiki entered the room. Behind him, for AN, that is the correct number, right? Don't remember, Chunins trotted, each carrying a hand board in their hand. All right, Gaki, the heavily scared man bowled, find and seat. The exam begins now. If you are not seating in the next 15 seconds, you're out. Everyone scattered. Without thinking, Naruto launched to the first available empty chair he finds. It definitely wasn't his original spot, but here, he was sure that he would be able to find one of the hidden examiners. Not a glance was given to his teammate. Naruto focused his attention solely on finding his marked prey. Unaware, next to him, Temari fidgeted nervously under her calm mask. Everything about the blonde leaf Nin makes her inner conscience ready to fleet. The wind under her skin swirled with unease and strangely as it sounds, peace. That itself was a juxtaposition that makes Temari a little bit more than put off at the mixed message she was receiving. Her wind seems to be torn between fearing the boy and loving him. Looking at the boy next to her, studying him as hard as she can't help but question why in the world did her wind tells her that the boy was dangerous on their first meeting. Sure, the boy's blue eyes held a bit hardness and have a haunting look to it, but who doesn't? They are shinobi for Kami's sake. Of course they all have to grow up fast. Kill or be killed. This Naruto boy didn't look dangerous. But he knows about Gaara's demon. He said he was friend with someone, or something that is familiar with Shikage, Temari furiously told herself. That alone should be more than enough reason to label the boy dangerous. But looking at the boy, Temari began to garner some doubts. The boy just seems so innocent, kind, and noble. He doesn't seem like the type that would snap and kill everyone in sight. But you'll never know, her mind whispered. We are shinobi after all, who knows what's behind the mask? Ibiki stood before the genin is slight glee. It's always so much fun to torture unfortunate souls. Sit down and pass your applications to the front row. Ibiki ordered. Yes, ordered. Ibiki don't do instructions, demand it. He orders. Be sure to write down the number that's on the corner of your table. We will hand out the written exam after we got all of your applications. After a brief and threatening run of the rules, the exam took off without too much of a problem. Not when you have already taken it before. The advantage was not lost to Naruto this time around, now that he actually knows the purpose of the exam. And while Naruto debated on whether or not he should have done what he did in his past life, in the end, Naruto thought it would seem more fitting to actually do the work. It never hurts to try and see where his spying skills are. Discreetly, or as subdued as he could, he palmed the side of his head and mustered an oblivious bored face. Letting his eyes to glaze over, he raked around the room before he allowed his eyes to rest on a fellow genin. Still, with a bored and dull face, Naruto forced himself to appear to be spacing out. Years of observation had allowed Naruto to be able to memorize and read movements. The position Naruto was in gave a perfect view of the hidden examiner's hand and pencil movement. It would only take a matter of minutes to depict the correct words and answers. After his attended actions, Naruto waited a few more minutes before scribbling down the answers. Now all he has to do is wait. Bored and with nothing else to do, Naruto let his eyes wander. A gentle breeze caught his attention as he turned to find himself staring at Temari, Gaara's sister. His mind supplied. I remember a bit about her. She was definitely protective over Gaara, even if sometimes she doesn't even know it. Naruto remember recalling how Temari had stepped in front of him to save Gaara. How she was so willing to give her life for Gaara. Naruto never told anyone this, but Temari's action had left quite an impression on him. Call it jealousy or longing, but Naruto wished he have someone like Temari to protect him. Studying the girl, Naruto wonders exactly what he did to garner Temari's earlier reaction. It was almost as if Temari was afraid of him. No, he was sure that Temari was afraid of him. But it didn't make much sense. It's not like he have ever done anything to her. Maybe she's sensitive to his demonic powers? She does have one for a brother after all. But still, to be looked at with such eyes coming from Temari, who he had always thought was spunky and doesn't bow down to anyone and occasionally had smack everyone, especially Shikamaru if Naruto remembers corrected of his past life, around, it was weird. Even with Gaara, Temari occasionally used a firm and bossy tone. So it was definitely unusual and hard for Naruto to take in that Temari was afraid of him. Whatever makes her react this way, Naruto is going to find out. Ibiki took a long look at the room filled genins. In all honesty, he personally thinks that less than half of them would pass his test. Already, he noted right off the bat of many amateur attempts of spying. Take the girl with the buns? Who would be fooled even for a minute? She had made it almost painfully oblivious with her constant head motion. The arching of the neck and head was a dead giveaway. Not to mention her teammate, the one with the green spandex, was hard to miss, especially when his eyebrows was going up and down like a freaking jumping caterpillars. And the Hyuga, both of them, was of course using their Byakugan. It's dim and hard to miss when the veins are showing. Uchiha without a doubt probably is using his Sharingan, if his red eyes have any indication of it. Bloodlines, Ibiki thought, of course they would use it. Always looking for the easy way out. Dog Boy and Bug Boy probably used their animal friends to help them as Ibiki spies some bugs buzzing around and the dog on Kiba's head let out small barks. And the sound Nins were defiantly listening to the scratches that were produced by the pencils. Nice trick, and finally the painted sand Nin used his puppet no doubt. Does the kid honesty think that Ibiki wouldn't notice the weird behavior his man is exhibiting? Nevertheless, Ibiki was under strict orders to not go overly professional on the hopefuls. After all, if the exam was to go by Ibiki's standards, well, let's just say no one would pass. So, reluctantly, Ibiki bit back a groan of disappointment and marked off 5 points from each of the genin that he found fault in. If he can't kick them out, then may as well take off the maximum points as possible, just to make them sweat. Meanwhile, when looked to the next section of the room, Ibiki found himself slightly, very slightly mind you, impressed with the performance of the red-headed and blonde-headed sand group and the Uzumaki kid. Ibiki didn't know what just to the sand duo was using, but whatever it is, it was impressive, if it weren't for the tension it had created. If this was an actual mission, both of them would be discovered simply due to the power they were putting out. The Uzumaki kid, however, was a different story. If Ibiki wasn't known for his keen observation skills, the kid would have fooled him too. Clearly, the kid got talent. Further down back on the other hand, number 18, 136, and 78 out. The time passed rather slowly in that exam room. Quietly and painfully slowly. Finally, one by one, the pencils dropped and papers flipped. When the timer reached 0, Ibiki got up from his chair and shouted, "Time's up. Drop the pencil or you are disqualified." Even the most reluctant let their pencil fall. You will only have one chance to quiet before we give out the 10th question. If one of your teammates bails out, the whole team goes. Same thing happens if you get the question right or not, Ibiki informed before letting an evil smirk to grace across his face. If you don't take the question, you'll have to retake the exam next time. If you agree to take it and succeed, good for you, you pass. But if you take the question and failed, you will be stuck as genin forever. Almost immediately the room exploded in shouts and protest. A Nin from Grass hissed, "You can't do that." Ibiki snorted before roaring, Well, too bad, Gaki. I make the rules for this year's exam. So what I say goes. The room quiet down from the roar, but the unhappy mutters remains. What about our remaining points? One brave idiot asked. It doesn't matter, everything comes down to this last question, Ibiki told him fatly, all the while enjoying himself immensely on the inside. But that's not fair, the idiot continued to protest. Are you telling me that the 9 questions means nothing? Annoyed, Ibiki snarled with glee. Well, then boy, minus all your remaining points, now get out. It didn't take long before the teams began to drop like flies. Many teams left. In the end, just as Ibiki had predicted, less than half of the people remained. Throughout the whole ordeal, Naruto didn't interfere. Whether or not he wanted to, it was better to just weed out the competition. The only action he did do, however, was turning around to give both Sakura and Hinata a thumbs up, smoothing their doubts and worries. Naruto haven't forgot how last time Sakura had almost raised her hand because she thought Naruto would fail, or how Hinata's lack of confidence had made her wanting to quit. His encouragement had certainly given them a reason to stay. And since Naruto didn't technically did anything wrong, Ibiki left Naruto alone to his own little world. Finally, when it seemed like no one else was going to give up, Ibiki nodded to his men and leaned forward toward the nervous and tensed crowd. Now the 10th question is, he begins, everyone here, passed. What? Temari was the first to shout, what about the 10th question? What about it? Ibiki challenged. When all he got was stutters for an answer, Ibiki continued on. Do you know what makes a chunin? What is the line between kiddies and adults? You come here all wanting to be chunins. But what makes a chunin is the ability to take up a mission even when they know that they might not come back alive. By refusing to take the 10th question, you already fail, not ready to become chunin. Removing the cloth that shielded his injuries, Ibiki graced the room with his scared head. There will be a time when you will get caught by enemies and you will have to make a decision as to whether or not give them important information or be tortured to death. As shinobi, we should all be willing to offer up our life and die. The question is designed to see who will stay and who will leave. If you are unwilling to even take on question just because you are afraid, how will you take up C-ranked, B-ranked, or even A-ranked missions? The room remained silent, shaken by his speech, but more so by the truth that was in it. Before you ask me about the other 9 questions, I'll tell you now they were important, Ibiki went on. The 9 questions were designed to test your information collecting skills. We don't expect you to do every well since you are still amateurs. But we do kick out of all the poorly conducted idiots. I don't know what you redhead, turning his attention to Gaara, but whatever it is, that intensity would have alerted your prey. Ibiki put his cloth back on and shrugged. Whatever, you all pass. Your examiner for the next task should arrive shortly. It was and always will be the longest wait of Naruto's life, and he doesn't care what other people may tell him. He had forgotten all about the most painfully slow hour he had to wait for Anko to show up. He swears that girl is almost like Kakashi-sensei when it comes to time. But unlike Kakashi-sensei, who was just addicted to Ika Paradise, Anko have a strange fascination with dango and blood. How in the world did those two fix together? He'll never know, probably have to do with eating dango covered in blood. That seems more up Anko's alley. Either way, it was a long wait for Anko. The tension that had covered the room earlier had been lifted. And if Naruto didn't know better, he would have to say that Ibiki was getting a bit more than annoyed. In fact, Ibiki seemed rather fidget ever since the first half hour that had passed when no one showed up. That's like the 20th time Ibiki had glanced at his watch, Naruto noted. Yup, and Ibiki's left eye definitely twitched too. Anko was having a good day. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and best of all she have dango for the eating. Somewhere in the back of her mind tells her that she was forgetting something very, very important. But no matter. It certainly can wait after she consume her delicious order of dango twice her weight, just like Naruto consume his ramen or Itachi with his Pocky. It would be another half an hour before Anko realizes where she should have been. It would be another 10 minutes before Anko would actually show up. It would take about 15 seconds to scare the Chunin hopefuls shitless with her proclamation, "I'll cut them in half by the time I'm done." And it would probably take about 30 minutes for every one of the candidates to return back to the Death Forest with their life signed away. Oh, there's always time. Enko thought as she took another bite into her dangos. Life is good. People like to sprout proverbs and moral lessons like, cheaters never prosper, or, the nice guy never win, or even, do unto others as you wish do unto them. And while it's great lessons for civilians and the overall safe and normal people of the world, those who work in the shadows don't have such luxuries. For the sake of the majority, the few must dirty themselves into the darker end of moral and ethical ambiguity. So if one must follow the proverbs and moral lessons, heed this one: don't judge. The second part of the exam began rather abruptly. There were hardly any warnings, just a lot of shouting and glass shattering. The front window was totally trashed. Enko stood proudly against the totaled window, lazily munching on the last of her dangos. Her face sports a bored expression as she leaned leisurely against the side. Yo, she greeted Ibiki without any sort of apology for being both late and for crashing through the window. So, where's the brats? She asked instead, as if she didn't expect to see any passing genin at all. You're late. Ibiki raised a brow at the jounin before pointed in the remaining genin's direction. Slowly, Enko turned around towards the room. Her bored eyes widened in slight shock. Enko shouted. There are at least 13 teams left. What have you been doing, Ibiki? You lost your touch or something? And indeed, inside that testing room, 13 teams left standing. Among them were all of the Rookie 9 and Kabuto's team, one more Leaf team, Gaara's Sand team, a Grass team, a Sound team, 2 Rain team, and 3 Stone teams. Ibiki shrugged. There's a lot of potentials this year, he pointed out, ignoring the glares Enko sent towards the heavily scared jounin. Well, her eyes glinted maliciously, liking a kunai for extra effect. When I'm done, I'll cut the numbers in half. The room shivered at the proclamation, and the tension that had once been lifted at the end of question 10 came back full force. The Forest of Death, while does not look too ominous, is filled with the gentle and quiet wildlife of Konoha. If you believe gigantic spiders and killer bees, and man-eating tigers as gentle, that is. Coincidentally, it was also the birthplace of Tora the cat. Once again, readers must ask themselves if there is a significance to this trivial facts. There is. Not many knows this, but before Forest of Death was fenced off to the public, one Kushina Uzumaki often venture into the deep wilderness to either blow off steam or due to Kyubbi's urgings. The fox apparently was not fond of city life and would often refuse to let Kushina peace unless she brings him into the forest once every 2 weeks. Kushina, who grew up in a land with little trees but plenty of water, took a liking to the vast greens and didn't mind too much. It was on these adventures that the animals who lived in the forest become more observant and dangerous. Every time Kushina used chakra or Kyubbi's power within the forest zone, the life energies swirled and touched all that it had contact with. Slowly, the demonic aura twisted and changed the animals, and Kyubbi was their master. So it wasn't a wonder that Team 7 never encountered any of the inhabitant of Forest of Death. Demon recognized demon after all. Kyubbi, who was awake this time around, crackled manically. Payback is a beach, he hissed before sending a burst of his own energy outward, so small that no one noticed, but the orders were clear to those who had heard. Snake in the forest. Hunt it down. The headaches had faded into a dull pounding in the back of Naruto's head. His neck sore, and would painfully stiffen from the slightest movement. His temper too was in a constant flux. There are moments when he wanted nothing but to tear away at his teammates. Even as he trailed behind them, all he could think about is how wonderful it would feel if he just slid blade across Sakura's throat, let the warm blood flow out of her neck and onto the forest floor. Or how amazing if he could dig out Sasuke's eyes and crush them, let the last of the Uchiha die here and now. Then suddenly the haze would disappear, though the feeling of wonderment would turn into horror. Naruto shivers and breathes deeply, shaken, but the excitement was still there. What the hell am I thinking? I didn't came back here, get stuck in my younger version just to kill my teammates. I am here to save everyone and change things. Naruto screamed in his head. Warily, he distanced himself a bit further from his teammates, unable to trust himself. An hour passed without any complaints. Vaguely, Naruto make a note of the difference this time around. Anko came late. We haven't stopped since entering the forest. No creepy snake guy in sight. I wonder. Things were changing. Naruto noted with glee. Don't be too happy. There is a price for everything Kyubbi worn in sorrow. But Naruto was too happy to pay any attention. After a few minutes, reason took a leave and the need to flood the forest floor red came back once more.